Bonjour Paris! Bienvenue en ce deuxième jour des finales mondiales de Brawl Stars. On a eu un jour excellent hier, beaucoup de 3-0, beaucoup de bons matchs. 4 équipes qui se sont déjà qualifiées pour dimanche. Et aujourd'hui, on a les 8 équipes suivantes, 4 tickets pour le dimanche final ici à Disneyland Paris. Une seule équipe pourra finir avec le plus grand des titres. Ça sera décidé demain, mais aujourd'hui, beaucoup d'actions Brawl Stars. And of course, for all of the English speakers out there, I will be speaking both languages all weekend. Welcome to day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals. We had an action-packed day yesterday. 4 teams have already validated their tickets to the finals. Tomorrow, Championship Sunday is going to be big, but there are 4 more spots to take, and these spots are going to be taken today. 16 teams are in competition here at Disneyland Paris, but only one will leave with the biggest of titles. I am Damascus, I will be your host all weekend, but without further ado, let's get brawling!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Brawl Stars World Finals. Day number 2 is getting underway. Once again, here at Disneyland Paris, it is a full house, and I couldn't be more excited to be alongside you, Teddy. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling great. Yesterday was already awesome. We got 4 more round of 16 matches left. We're gonna play through them today, and man, there are some amazing matches lined up for you.
And let's get a quick recap of that format as well. If you weren't with us yesterday, here it is. Power match format, just like your Power League games at home, in a 16-team single elimination bracket. You lose, you are out of here. It is the culmination of a year's worth of effort. Best of 5 in the round of 16, all the way to the semifinals, transitioning into a best of 7 format in those grand finals. Prize pool is looking pretty spicy.
Yeah, $1 million on the line. Life-changing money here for our players. 400K just for that first place, 200K second, and it dwindles down from there on, but it's still a hefty sum of money for any team that qualified here for the World Finals.
And 4 teams made it that much closer to claiming their grand prize. Quarterfinals on the top side of the bracket have been locked in. ZETA Division 1, Reply Totem in that first quarterfinal taking place tomorrow. STMN and Team Queso in the next quarterfinal tomorrow.
Yeah, yesterday's round of 16 matches were crazy, especially looking at the 2 first ones, in my opinion. I mean, Vatra Gaming, a great performance, but Reply Totem looked deadly. On the other hand, I also think Chasmac played really well, but ZETA Division 1, they are just ZETA Division 1. The other matches too, I mean, we said goodbye to a Simulating Clash with Stalwart Esports, some heartbreaks, but I mean, that's the name of the game here at the World Finals.
And potentially some more along the way. Let's look ahead and see what is to come today. The round of 16 is finishing up here with the last 4 matches in this segment. Tribe Gaming EU will face off versus Zest, then ZETA Division 0 versus Chasmac Gaming BR. Next, Tribe Gaming NA versus NaVi, and Reconic Esports TOC versus SK Gaming. Some serious matchups here on the bottom side of the bracket. Any of those stand out to you in particular, Teddy?
Have you seen that third match? I mean, look at it. Tribe Gaming NA versus NaVi. That is one stacked round of 16 match, one that seeding really did dirty here. That is going to be a fun one to watch.
Well, I definitely agree, but it seems like we didn't exactly agree on our predictions here. At least I speak for myself and all the other casters, excluding you. Why NaVi versus Tribe Gaming NA? It's a very hotly contentious match, but once again, you're the sole outlier taking just one different match from the rest of us.
Well, listen, yesterday, I was the only one going Totem against Vatra. I was right. I'm counting on making that happen again. Just getting, you know, a 2 correct prediction lead over you guys. Worst case scenario, I tie it up with you. It's just win-win. I'm very strategical about my predictions.
Okay, if you want to be a wise guy like Teddy, and I would highly encourage you to do so, go to event.brawlstars.com, submit your predictions of your own, interact with the stream, watch and earn some rewards as well to redeem in-game. You can get the new skin as well for Tara, which is looking super, super awesome. Also, make sure you engage with us on TikTok. We want to see y'all's reactions as well. You can share those with us using hashtag BSWF22 and share with us your reactions. We want to see how you're reacting to it. I mean, we get to do it up on the big screen, but we want to see it on the small vertical screen too.
Exactly that. We get to see the reactions of the people like behind us, literally, as they witness everything live, but we are not forgetting you guys at home. We want to see how you guys feel about everything. We want to know it all. Share.
Well, without further ado, I mean, we're getting ready for our first match here, and this is going to be quite an interesting one. Tribe Gaming EU versus Zest. Now, Tribe Gaming EU, definitely one of the top dogs in their home region of EMEA, getting a couple of monthly finals wins in there. Zest, can't say the same for their region. The third seed from LATAM South, definitely having some struggles in their home region.
Yeah, on paper, this is one of the more one-sided matches here of the round of 16. But we've seen in the past, it doesn't always mean everything. It all depends on the form on the match day. And guys, talking about the form of those teams, let's find out as they go on stage.
Et allez, c'est l'heure pour le premier match de la journée. On a 4 gros matchs aujourd'hui. Et le premier match qui va commencer, ça va accueillir directement la première seed EU. Mais vous savez quoi? Je vois les supporters de Tribe. Il y en a quand même beaucoup. On va la faire en anglais rapidement. For all of the Tribe supporters, we're doing this one in English. Are you guys ready to make some noise for your team? Yeah? Tribe Gaming EU!
Tribe Gaming EU, a team that clearly needs no introduction. Some world finalists from last year and previous years on this roster, especially if we talk about Tom, world champion in 2019 and a decorated record from this entire year to follow.
That's a good point. And as you mentioned, #1 seed here in EMEA. But looking at more international, inter-regional rather, results, it's not quite as good. World Finals 2021 was pretty much the same squad minus Le Nain. They only made it to top 16, so they got knocked out first round of Worlds. MSI this year also ended up knocked out early, so they want that big international result. This is their ticket to at least make it to the quarters if they can take down Zest. It's looking pretty good for them. But talking about Zest, let's bring them to the stage.
Et leurs adversaires, ils nous viennent d'Amérique du Sud, la 3e seed d'Amérique du Sud, des novices sur cette scène ici à Paris qui vont tenter de faire tomber la top seed européenne. Ils représentent 3 pays, Argentina, Brazil, Chile. Make some noise for Zest!
Alonso, No One, and Loco. If you guys are not familiar with them, they got 3rd seed in the LATAM South region. Thoughts about Wesley as well. That is not going to be playing in this match as he will be sitting on the bench. It's not a team that has achieved a whole lot already. They are 3rd seed, did not win a single monthly final, once made it to the grand finals of a monthly, didn't make it to Worlds last year, didn't make it to MSI. This is their first big event, and I mean, it doesn't get a whole much bigger than this.
Keyword yet. They have not achieved this much greatness yet. This is their chance to claim it on the big stage and a potential to continue a continuous curse. If from EMEA, Tribe Gaming EU, they need to break the EU curse. Every single year since 2019, the top team from EMEA has gone down in the first round at Worlds. Tribe Gaming EU, they have to close it out here. And Zest, they're an unknown enemy, but they are also severely the underdog in this matchup.
Oh, absolutely. I think one thing that kind of gives me some more hope for Zest as well is their coach, Jag, which, if my memory serves me correctly, was the coach for Bunker at Worlds last year, brought them there, so he could maybe, you know, have gotten them in just the best form, the best conditions to perform. I think that Tribe Gaming EU, without a doubt, are favorites here, but we have seen Tribe choke and fold here and there. So, gotta be careful, you know, try to get that good, solid, early start. Whereas on Zest, I mean, they want exactly the same. Try to scare away Tribe Gaming, convince them that, you know, maybe they're not quite good enough to go further. Tribe Gaming is a very emotional team, and they get hugely affected by momentum and how good their opponents feel about themselves, how confident they get. So I think Zest, if they really want to impress Tribe, they gotta strike hard and early and be loud while doing so.
No doubt, and you know, as optimistic as I would love to be for Zest, you got to be realistic as well. If we just look at the self-reported scrims heading up onto the World Finals in preparation phase, an unfortunate 24% win rate for Zest in those scrims. That's not really great. And you talk about, you know, Tribe EU having sort of maybe a weakness to confidence on the opposing side. I'm going to be real with you, man. I would not be confident up here if I were Zest. One thing they can be confident in, though, is that they're an unknown enemy, right? They're coming in with not a whole lot known about them, not a whole lot of background studies to be done on them, and also probably a whole lot of work being done in the dojo, right? The regional meta, and bringing out something that we don't usually see in the EMEA scene.
Yeah, you're right. To be fair, Tribe is not really a team to underestimate their opponents. They do have their moments where they look a bit more shaky, and this year has been an interesting one because they qualified for World's Best Seed. That's their best result ever coming from monthly finals. Always was a little bit of a struggle to make it all the way and secure that spot into the World Finals. But this year, much more secure and confident about it. The question is, how is that going to translate now in their opening match? The expectations are high. The Tribe fans, the Tribe staff as well on screen here, recognizing a whole bunch of them, Kaner, Cody, I'm getting confused, but a whole bunch of them, a whole bunch of them.
There are a whole lot of them as well. Everyone's showing out here, and I mean, that's one of the amazing things about having a LAN is that you get to have the live studio audience in here too, and everyone coming out to support their favorite teams too. A lot of support on the side of Tribe. Once again, I mean, if you haven't submitted your predictions already, you got to do so on event.brawlstars.com. That way we can accurately gauge what the audience is thinking in terms of predictions for this match. But I mean, we already know what the casters are thinking. Casters are thinking that this is going to be a very confident and dominant match for Tribe Gaming EU. But hey, I mean, upsets are always welcome. We haven't seen any huge upsets just yet. If we do, it's going to have to get started here on Safe Zone, our very first map. Oh!
Yeah, that is brutal. 85% of you guys at home are predicting Tribe Gaming EU to take this one home, and I can't blame you. I can't blame you. I think the odds are maybe a little bit more favorable to Zest than that, but it's still going to be tough. We're kicking things off on Safe Zone. Our bans on the side of Tribe Gaming EU are going to be Otis, Max, and 8-Bit. Zest will be banning out Bell, Brock, and Bonnie. Just as a little stat here, their win rates of both teams in Heist is 46% for Tribe, 50 for Zest. So arguably a slightly better game on the side of Zest. But to be fair, you know, it's stats that come from facing different opponents in different regions. So we'll see how that actually goes down in practice. Tom gonna be first picking that Ruffs, and it's one we've seen quite a bit on Safe Zone lately.
And he's a very popular wall breaker as well, and Safe Zone wall break is going to be absolutely paramount to a lot of strategies, especially if you want to run something effectively up the right lane. Rico absolutely comes to mind. He's not banned out here, and he could be picked if, of course, things are broken open early on. Colonel Ruffs doesn't get free wall break, and even breaking open the walls might even be a hazard now that B has been picked on the opposing side.
I honestly like the B here. I think it's a pretty good reactionary pick. Obviously doesn't do well at all against Rouse.
No.
But I'm assuming that the next one probably will cover that. Griff going to be a much better option here to complement it and have that free roll break available with the piggy bank. Open up your right side of the map. Make sure you have just easy access to your lane, and especially early access compared to the Ruffs that needs a super before you can open up that wall.
And great for denying things that get in close range versus you as well. This roster has been known to run Daryl here pretty reliably. Carl's still an option that we saw absolutely wreck house yesterday. Piper and Colette actually is quite interesting. Colette, of course, colossal damage on that safe, especially if she gets damage boosted by Colonel Ruffs. I would say it's more likely that Piper gets damage boosted since she's less likely to die with the treat over her head. Drage on the Piper, though, always one that you want to be watching out for, but there's still one option left on the side of Zest for a counter pick.
Yeah, honestly, I love this draft on the side of Tribe. Daryl is going to be our final pick here for Zest. I like it too. I think both teams have a lot of merit here. Lena has a very good matchup against the Daryl. Overall, I mean, Lena on the Colette can be an absolute threat. I think what I like about Tribe Gaming EU's comp and strategy is they're going for very comfortable picks for them, right? We all know Tom's Ruffs, Lena's Colette, and Drage's Piper, and they are staying in their comfort zone, which is important when it comes to your opening set. You don't want to give anything away and get yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Left side is going to be opened up by the Griff as Tom is trying to aggress and get some early positioning. Loco down in the mid got tagged up, does get a tag onto Drage. Let's see if he can get a connection on that 3K shot. He's getting up close, and wow! The connection as Drage is gonna fall, and some first damage on save. That's gonna be going the way of Zest.
And another piggy bank drop down around the left side to break things open. Tom luckily has one wall left to his name that he can use. Loco gets tapped up a little bit. Here's a roll in from no one. Little supply drop down, but it's not going to go on top of Loco. Tom falls. Lena and Drage trying to defend as best as they can, but Alonso is determined to lock himself in his back left corner. It's going to take a pinch to get him out of there, which is surely coming along the way, but it does waste a little bit of time that Tribe could be using to push up Alonso. He just continues to stay alive. He's going to get the close range kill, now taken down by Tom, but no one's all over the safe like white on rice. Loco still trying to get some damage in here. A little honeypot thrown down as well. Good contact from Lena, but this is a dominating game so far by Zest.
Zest are destroying Tribe Gaming EU in this first game so far. A nice homemade recipe connects from Drage down in the mid and gives him some slightly better positioning. A good tag onto Loco, but now there is a charge shot on that B. Alonso has a super as well. We need to be careful on the side of Tribe Gaming EU. There's not a whole lot of room to maneuver in this first game as we head towards the final minute. A super from Lena to go in and out, get some damage down on that save. They have a lot of catching up to do still.
Well, now that Drage is all powered up, he's definitely going to be a threat. No one tries to push up around the left side. Is able to get some damage in. Also denied by Tom with some wall break. He still stays alive, but the sandbags appear to come in clutch. Alonso also gets a kill here. Lena has a super to work with as well, but he's got to be careful versus Loco, who outranges him a lot. It's going to be a pretty unwinnable lane matchup for him, especially with no one coming around the left side, rather right side. Drage, though, thankfully is able to pick up the supply drop at mid, a dash forward as well from Lena, but they got a long way to go on this safe and a short time to get there.
Yeah, a nice roll from no one. The kill is going to be confirmed by Loco as Alonso falls on the left side to Tom, and Tom is utilizing those sandbags with the damage gear as well to get that extra damage. It's only 6% now, separating both teams. Who is going to go home with that first game? The jumping from Drage doesn't get a shot off. Lena with the super gets shut down, and that is going to be Zest taking game number 1.
What am I watching? This is the exact opposite of what we expected. However, if you want to get that momentum started versus a team that is particularly sensitive to momentum, you got to get it done in game 1. What a way to start things off. Just the diff on the defense of Tribe Gaming EU. Zest, they already have their eyes set once again at mid. Alonso is going to be breaking open that left wall fairly early on, but Tom, he's going a lot more aggressive this time, trying to line up the shots. Great dodges from Alonso. In fact, he's dodging shots left, right, and center. Speaking of center, here's Drage getting one tap on a Loco, just one tap away from picking up a kill. Good tank there with the honeypot. Loco manages to stay alive as well. Charge B and damage gear active, but no 4K contact.
All right, let's see. So far, not nearly as much of a problem in the early game for Tribe. It does make sense though, right? You have the Roughs, which doesn't get the free wall break, so it's easier for that right lane on the side of Zest, as well as those buffs that come from the trees from Roughs. They're going to take a while to build up. First kill here from Drage onto Alonso as that left side is going to be weakened up. And a chance now for Tom to push forward, try to get some connections towards the safe. Still no shots connecting on safe just yet. Those walls will be taken out by Drage. Let's see if that is going to be favorable for them as Alonso creeps up onto the right side. Wants to get up close, but those tags from Tom are going to keep him at bay for now at least, as no one also has that roll available. We know how deadly that can be. The slow doesn't quite connect enough. Missing a super as well, is able to find Alonso. Another kill from Drage onto no one, and it's only Loco left alive. A good cleanup from Tribe Gaming as they get some damage on safe and take over the lead.
Lena has his next super free, 10% off of the safe. Down goes Drage as well. Loco's tanking like a madman. Here comes a slow onto Lena, and no one gets to get all over this safe. Tons of damage being knocked off, but still not surpassing what Tribe Gaming EU has laid into Zest. But I stand corrected. No one's going crazy. Contact of the gadget on there as well. Tribe Gaming EU now standing at 41% to 58, and Alonso continues the onslaught.
Zest are threatening Tribe on this first set. A dangerous position for this game start for Tribe Gaming. Drage, a good kill onto Loco. 25 seconds left now. A super from the now. Good connection onto Alonso, onto the safe as well. I think someone creeped up on the right side. Is going to get to the save. There's two players from Tribe that have access to that save, getting some damage down as well, but it's still Zest in the lead for now, and we head towards our final 15 seconds.
Got a body block here. Loco doesn't have too much health to work with, though. Tom and Drage are tossing everything on that save that they can. 11 to 12, 1% left. There's not enough time for Zest to push this back to Tribe's safe, and it's going to a tied upset.
Oh my goodness. This opening set is fantastic already, and let's just appreciate that Daryl pick into the Colette as well. The confidence from Zest, and I mean everyone had their doubts. We know we have a match in our hands here already. Let's see who takes set number 1 between Tribe Gaming, EU, and Zest.
Little lane switch here too. Alonso now takes the right side early on. Wonder if he's going to be breaking open that wall if he so pleases. No one also on the left side here. Could come the piggy bank. He's going to heal up a little bit before popping that gadget, it looks like. Gadget popped also. Loco is going to lose that honey pot. Here's a wall break. Yeah, Drake is just going to do him a favor and save him a gadget as well. Alonso, thankfully, is able to avoid a lot of that damage, and Tom switches over to the lane. Here's some more wall break as well. It's going to be great for dealing with no one. A kill onto Alonso. Roll in from no one. He's looking for damage, but Tom's tanking it pretty well. Wow. Another kill onto Loco. And Tribe Gaming EU, they're powering right through. In fact, penetrating as well for 10% off that safe, and 15 already knocked off his Zest safe.
What a start here from Tribe. Did not take a single percent on that save. We saw in game 1 how devastating those pushes from Zest can be. A missed homemade recipe from Drage, but a follow-up connection onto no one. Getting that tag up, and the buff is on both Drage and Lena at this point, which is going to help massively in those one-on-one matchups. 20% extra damage, definitely something substantial. Super does connect from Alonso, but so does the shot from Drake that takes him down. A honeypot to tank for Loco. He's in an awkward position, gets shut down. No one tries to get to the safe. Will get some decent damage on save, but what a lead from Tribe now.
Zest, they are trailing by a large margin here. They have to get some damage in on that enemy safe. Loco's doing his best to defend. Lenaz going to try and lock himself in his back right corner. Alonso's just waiting out the gotcha gadget. Lenaz still going to benefit from some bonus damage, though. Big stuff in. Alonso gets the defense, but Tom and Drage are here to finish it off, and it's a Tribe Gaming EU victory.
A slow start from Tribe Gaming, but they made sure they take that first set in the end, shut down any sort of confidence that Zest were building up. But to be fair, I'm saying that, but I mean, Zest are surprising us so far. I think that draft was a fantastic one on their end. Definitely not like a free win by any means, but even enough that, you know, this got close. This got dangerously close. If that second game, a 10% difference, and suddenly we would have had Zest take the first set.
No, honest truth here, I wasn't entirely convinced by the Daryl pick on paper, but in action, it was just endless aggression onto that safe and some solid damage overall. Where Zest seemed to really have that struggle was once things pushed up to mid, and especially once the supply drops were powering up Drage and even Lena too, but especially Drage tapping things at long range seriously prevented the Bee from doing what Bee's usually supposed to do, keep things at long range, slow things down whenever she can. I do want to give a shout out to Loco because he was going nuts that game. In fact, all of Zest was taking game number 1 is such a great statement over a team like Tribe Gaming EU, but what really matters is those set victories. That is what actually gets you closer to taking a match win.
Absolutely, and I think Tribe just escaped a big trap here. Wow. It was close, but the stats, they tell a different story here. 17 kills on Drage, 10 on Tom. Lena a little bit behind, but does have a decent bit of damage as well. I think no one struggled to really find, you know, any sort of connections after those Daryl rolls, and it's a problem, you know, sometimes with the tanks is until you are in the action and you are, you know, right next to your opponent, you can't really do much, just be there, tank a bit or whatnot, wait for that super to pop up. But I think that Tribe did an amazing job here at dodging that trap in the first set, where Zest, you know, they win the first game and it was a stomp. They looked much, much better, and Tribe did not let that take them down. They managed to somehow get a good reset, focus up, and reverse sweep that opening set. Beautiful stuff from the #1 EMEA seed. Safe zone is where we are heading next, and Stu will be the first pick for Tribe.
I'm definitely liking the Stu pick here. Also to clarify, it is hot zone, not safe zone, open zone. There we go, yeah. Two zones in a row. And I mean, maybe another one if we move on to knockout pretty soon here. Another, yeah, or out in the open. Only tangentially related to open zone, which is, once again, not on Heist. But anyway, Stu, I definitely like here. You're able to bob and weave in and out of that point. You're able to chase down tanks that could be particularly troublesome. I don't necessarily expect to see that here. Poco's actually going to be the response, in fact, and this one is a little bit worrisome for me when Stu is in the mix, but should have seen it coming from a mile away because B has been banned on the side of Zest. They fully intend on running a Poco comp.
Man, I mean, this has some real potential on the side of Zest. I love this too, don't get me wrong. I think it's one of the most dominant picks on this map. You can just get those wiggles and, you know, dash left and right in the zone, stay there forever. Speed zone, still strong, not nearly as strong as it used to be, but it can still help out massively. On the other hand, Poco, an absolute threat on this map. Wonder why they went Gale rather than Max. To be completely fair, I think that would have been a potential explosive pairing. But I do respect the Gale here as well. I mean, obviously, you know, you want to control the zone. Nothing better to get you out of the zone than a Gale.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and expect that they're running the jump pad for a little bit of extra momentum into the mid area. Perhaps it could also help to counter whatever they might be going for in tandem with the Poco, because they do have last pick. But here comes out one tank counter at minimum. Tom's also going to be a pretty strong tank counter here because, well, you're never able to hit him because he always stays out of your range. Drage is going to have tremendous range here as well. And Amber, at least in, you know, I hail from the North American region, and in North America, you always ban Amber. Here's Carl as well, a particularly tanky pick that's going to give Amber a lot of trouble here, actually.
Carl was the most picked brawler yesterday, I believe, or at least up there. And I mean, no wonder why it performed phenomenally yesterday. Now, will Zest perform as well as Tempo did yesterday on that Carl pick? There's only one way to find out, but yeah, this is going to be an interesting one for sure. I like what I'm seeing on both sides. I think it's a bit more traditional inside of Tribe Gaming, but we do have that launchpad indeed, and unless this is something that Tribe are really prepared for, I could see it catching them off guard.
Especially if no one is constantly jumping in. Loco can also cycle out that super pretty effectively. Lanai is dodging back and forth and does manage to pick the kill onto no one as well. Tribe Gaming EU, they are on this point, very firmly locked, and here comes some of the bush break as well, keeping Loco back, burning him up. Thankfully, some healing comes in from Alonso. Here's the super in and the gadget paired with it, but no one, he's still struggling to get some kills here. Tribe Gaming EU, they refuse to let this point behind.
Yeah, range is something quite complicated here on the side of Zest. Sure, the call does have a decent bit of range, but it's just at the advantage of Tribe, and playing max range like that is going to be a complicated affair. No one does manage to find a kill on Tom on the right-hand side. No one going in, no one finds the kill, and that is going to be enough to get a couple more percentages on the board for Zest. They're not quite there just yet, as they still have a decent bit of catching up to do.
Well, they're just staying at the edge of this zone on the top side. Lanai, he's also taking serious damage. Down he goes to the super from Loco. Another kill as well, or rather a near kill onto Drage as he has to retreat. Here comes the Ego down to protect him a little bit, but it's not going to offer too much defense versus Carl and his piercing damage, nor versus Alonso. Little burn onto no one and a focus down on the right side. Tribe Gaming EU begin to win back this zone. There's the team wipe, and they take this one back.
Big team wipe from Zest, from Tribe, exactly what they needed right here, right now, as they're getting closer and closer to the finish line. Another jump pad plays down, and that is low HP. Drage trying to keep some control of the zone here, but Alonso and Loco are doing a good job as well. Drage finds the connection on Loco. Alonso is one shot, eventually gets shut down, and it's all up to no one here to stop them from closing it out. Does find one kill, and now was able to get it all the way to 90%. Tom, incredibly low HP, should get cleared up there, and eventually Loco does find a kill. It's incredibly close, and now Zest are in control of the zone. This is going to be the final fight to determine who takes game number one of Talk. So Loco falls, gets Drage away. They're both in the zone, 1%, and no one does it. He's going to secure that first game again for Zest.
What is Zest on today? They're taking game one in the first set, game one in the second set, and completely out of nowhere as well. Running some stuff that is also kind of out of nowhere. Here's a jump pad once again to start things off. No one is seriously stuck in there at the end, getting that control towards the end and getting in close range versus some brawlers that struggle to pump out the DPS when someone is right on top of them, especially Tom, who was an absolute powerhouse in the last game. But this time, Zest, not only are they going to get that early zone control, but they're holding on to it way better than they did in game number one. Lanad, though, is trying to dispel some of this defense, already circling in versus Loco on the left side. Alonso and no one trying to stay alive on the right. No one needs the piercing damage, but Drake stays barely out of range. There's a freeze frame too. Loco goes down on the left. And Tribe Gaming EU, it looks like they've gotten back mid-control.
Yeah, Zest capitalized much better with that jump pad than in the first game, and yet Tribe was a great retake here of the mid, good presence, and that is one big puddle from Tom into the mid as well. If he gets the burn, he does connect it onto Alonso. That is gonna be a kill. Loco in a 1v3, the team wipe in favor of Tribe Gaming, and they have the lead, they have zone control. This is looking excellent for them.
Big push break around the right side for Tom as well. It's going to be an issue for No One and Alonso who need them to survive. Here comes a super in from No One, but it's a little bit too late, actually. Tom does stay alive. Protective Pirouette is supposed to shield you from a lot of damage, and it just came a little bit too late. Alonso also going down Loco. He's just a smidge away from dying. Little pushback as well as he's getting good dodges versus Lena. No One now takes his place. You need to see the kill onto Tom or Lena. They're both super, super low. No One's going to go for it, but once again, bursted down by Tom. Tribe Gaming EU, they lead confidently, but they need to win back this mid control.
Wow, what a lead from Tribe. Zest was a decent retake, but not one that seems to be holding for long. Now has been struggling much more this game as well. Tribe has done an amazing job at shutting him down. He goes in for a final attempt at pushing Tribe back, but not a successful one. Tribe tie things up, and again, we are going to game 3.
A lot of struggles there for Carl, unfortunately, because versus Amber, he should be able to gadget in and then immediately super, but you can just sense the pressure that Tribe Gaming EU is applying here because, frankly, that's not necessarily how Carl usually works in this interaction. We'll have to see, though, if it changes up in this next one, because what we saw in set number 1 is they change up the lanes, they try to make it work here. Zest, they got to go for anything that they can get as it's all tied up in this set.
All right. Just a couple of percentages lead, but the first kill goes the way of Tribe. I mean, zone control now. Alonso burning down and will end up dropping as now Tribe have a solid foothold in the mid. Zest need to be incredibly careful. They don't want to give this one away. They barely lost that first set. Twice in a row would be devastating, but another double burn from Tom. And that is going to be a follow-up cleanup from Tribe Gaming, as it's only Loco left alive and just barely poorly timed respawns. They do manage to keep Loco up for now. It's gonna try to heal up. Alonso low goes for the heal. No One needs to commit a bit more, but every time he gets stacked so low HP before he can do anything. And it seems like Tribe are just running away with this game and then with this set potentially.
Zest here, they're getting staggered so hard as they come in one by one. Thankfully, they're going to regroup for this final push in. Loco, he's going to have to make some magic happen. Maybe it's No One's job now. There's a flying hook in, but he gets tripped up next to the wall. His super is left, but he doesn't even get to use it. The pressure is mounting, and Zest fall once again after a Game 1 victory. But this is so much more than we expected to see from this roster. Certainly an impressive showing, but once again, they have to generate this into some set victories. Tribe now heading into set number 3 with 2 set victories under the belt already. They're 1 game away from that match point.
One thing that is absolutely worth pointing out here is just the adaptation that Tribe Gaming EU is capable of, losing both first games of their sets and you know, quite tough losses too. The first one in highs was a bit of a stomp, a bit of a surprising one too, and that second one, in the second set, it was a huge clutch, and yet games 2 and 3, they managed to just make a night and day difference, come in much more confident, pop off, hit those shots, keep them away from the objective, and dominate. Tribe Gaming playing fantastically here, but as you said, Zest catching everyone off guard, because talking to the players, talking to everyone here at the World Finals, most people's thoughts were Zest were maybe, you know, bottom of the round of 16, or maybe 1 or 2 spots up, but they were around the bottom of people's rankings, and they are definitely surprising us here with this, at least the 2 first sets.
Not the ideal place to find yourself, and not the ideal place to be told that you are at the very bottom, and we've been proven wrong, right? Everyone here has been proven wrong, but the ultimate way to do it is to get some wins on the board. We see some games up there. We need to see sets. We need to see this go to at least a set 4 for Zest to truly prove themselves versus this roster. And I'm going to return back to something that I think we observed in a large way. The pressure. It was clearly mounting so much. Some blunders started appearing there towards the end of that last set. Yes, it was pretty much all but lost for Carl there, but not being able to get that gadget around the corner, that's the kind of stuff that reveals, you know, these are pro players. They had to work so hard, they had to play so well to get to this stage. It's got to be some external force causing that stuff to happen.
No, you make a valid point, and honestly, I think looking at the draft, I think the call was a final pick, right, for Zest. So when you have a final pick and it's probably the least impactful one on the entire map, a bit of a mistake there that if they manage to rectify, I feel like they really could have just taken that set. So a bit sad for them because they've had a lot of opportunities to win those 2 first sets and they've been so close to doing so. And yet it's Tribe up 2-0 now as we have a Gene first pick on the side of Tribe Gaming EU after they banned out Max, Squeak and Piper. Zest banning out Eve, Bonnie and Brock.
And I like the Gene first pick. I mean, on Out in the Open in particular, you can get some pretty good value with the vision gear, but also simply the presence of the bushes. If you use speed gear, you can really surprise your opponents popping out of those bushes, getting really, really long distance on that pull. But here comes the B, and here comes the Tick as well. That Tick super is going to be blocking out a lot of damage from Gene potentially. Also, B just at the ready, always going to have that honey molasses to block any kind of Gene pull. The counters to Gene are quite clear, but it still opens the doors in terms of how exactly do you counter the brawlers on the enemy team. Already, a thrower has been picked. Tribe Gaming EU need to start cooking up some ways of playing up versus that brawler.
For me, Gene is just such a strong brawler on this map, whether it's the vision gear that enables you to just have so much info on your opponents, or just the pull, you know, and the magic puffs as well on Knockout are devastating for your opponents. We'll see a Griff and a Gus picked up by the side of Tribe. They've been loving those 2 brawlers in the last couple of months, and understandably so. Gus, as a support brawler, provides just so much to the team with that super, but also is a perfectly capable duelist. If you hit those shots, pop a gadget, claim a kill, and it's as simple as that. Otis is going to be the final pick on the side of Zest. Any comps your favor here, Ready?
I definitely am more used to and more adapted to what Tribe Gaming EU has to offer, though I think that this might be a pretty inventive approach from Zest, because I think the pretty clear strategy here is that Tribe Gaming EU, they intend on, at least as a last-ditch effort perhaps, throwing that shield onto Drage. He gets passive healing because he's Griff. He does great damage in close range because, yeah, he's Griff. And Otis's intention is to silence him up.
He's
what? Yeah, he's got the money on lock. Okay, let's check out what Zest has to offer. Already, Tick up the left lane, a little wall break as well. Gonna be keeping Griff back, and Lenot's gonna be using the jump pad. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, trying to catch them off guard, get some good positioning off the bat, and it worked. Looking at the positioning from Zest now, they are all the way back in their spawn. No one was a big tag onto Lenot. Lenot is able to pull out and stay careful, as so far it is still a massive control advantage in favor of Tribe, but at least HP-wise, Zest have managed to recover without losing a single player. Need to be careful, and now does have a super now as well. We know how devastating those can be in the late stages of those rounds. Drake still working towards that pool, and on the side of Zest, they do have 2 supers as well. Alonso might have to go for a ticket here as Lenot is getting dangerously close, and wow! Beautiful teamwork and connections on the side of Zest, but a pull from Drake connects, and it's only Loco left in a 1v2. Is he gonna go for it? He is indeed. Can he make it work? He gets one. Does he get the second? Tom is gonna shut him down. A brilliant attempt here from Loco in the 1v2, but not a successful one, unfortunately, for Zest, and that is gonna be some lost utility as well. But surely he's still fairly close to his next super too, so that shouldn't be the biggest problem. Drake does have a pull, so Zest cannot afford to overextend.
It's been the theme this entire match. Zest, they look so good, but they need to get some wins here, and they have to turn things around, because if this round goes the way of Tribe Gaming EU, it's gonna be a match point incoming for the guys, and that is the least optimal situation for Zest. Still though, they have to find some control. Alonso is gonna be doing his best to keep Tom back and keep him isolated. He has that Tick super ready to go at a moment's notice. Drage also has a pull ready to go. As soon as that poison starts closing things in, he's gonna be ready to use it. He's also ready to grab things through walls, and Loco and Alonso have to make sure they don't get pushed back too far.
Yeah, they always need to be careful now, as the gas is gonna force them into the mid. Alonso taking a little bit of damage, gonna place down the Tick head. Is it gonna be enough for Drake to take it down? He falls! That is a huge kill as Lenot's next in line, and it's only Tom in a 1v3, finds one. Can he find another? No, he won't. And this time around, it is gonna be Loco to close it out. 1-1 in this game.
great game sense there as well. They knew that they would be able to lay enough damage into Drage to take him down in spite of the shield. And Alonso off of that has also cycled his super out once again. No one has his super too, but he's got to get some brawlers in closer range in order to make use of it. And he has to be careful about the looming threat of Drage. He could be anywhere inside of these bushes. And Alonso's trying to gradually push him back. Meanwhile, Loco, he's going to be careful about moving too close to these obstacles on the backside. Lana, though, is still going to be pushing in spite of that defensive play. Drage also has a super ready to go. It's the same situation as last time, but now we have to see the pull. Oh, it was a bait. Drage flashed the super. Here it comes. Almost a kill onto Lana, and it's still a tie game.
Oh my goodness, the teamwork on Tribe to make it work. But a beautiful strategy from Zest too. Lana that was muted and could not deal with the tick. Had the pull. Connects onto Alonso. And disaster strikes for Zest as Tribe Gaming have the man advantage. The super from Lana to close it out. No one in a 1v2. Not a chance. It's going to be match point for the boys in red.
We talked about it. Pressure, it is absolutely mounting. There is no other way about it, but we see it in the gameplay too. Drage, he flashed his super to bait the tick super out so it couldn't block the pull. Genius stuff, but also something that only works when your opponent is nervous enough to make a trigger-happy mistake like that. Let's see it though. Tribe Gaming EU, they're at match point. Zest, they have to rise up to the challenge and claim this and push us to yet another match point in order to get a set victory.
This is the final chance for Zest, or at least their final life, as they cannot afford to lose either of the next two games of this set. Might not even get to play both. They have good control right now. Tribe pushed back and uncomfortable. Drage a bit isolated as well, but a huge pickup from Tom as no one falls. Loco with a beautiful trade out to Drage, and that leaves things open in a 2v2. Then now his shield expires, and it should more or less even things out. However, two supers available on Zest could be quite significant. Tom in trouble. Tom, 1 HP, but can they take him down? They will indeed. Interesting gadget choice as well, as Lana is gonna desperately try to 1v2. Lana breaking open the walls now as well, but too many angles, too many possibilities for shots to come here and there. And he does fall. Zest take a round they desperately need it.
Certainly a commendable effort there towards the end by Lana, but they still need to get a couple of rounds in here in order to close out the match. Oh, early kill there, Tom. He popped the gadget to get that kill shot onto Loco, and now already it's a 2v3. This is not looking good for Zest as we speak. They can afford to lose this round, but it's suboptimal. Here it comes, a kill on Lana, and now it's evened out to a 2v2.
Wow, beautiful stuff. Lana with an overextension, but a pull connects again from Drage, and he has been on point on that Gene. 2v1, no one has the DPS to turn this around, but it is going to be a struggle, especially as he has no walls to easily heal back, and the Gene is constantly able to chip damage him. He does get his super, but he does go down. Tribe Gaming EU, all they need is this round, and they'll be qualifying for the quarterfinals.
Well, on the side of Zest, for what it's worth, they have 3 supers to work with. Loco's going to go for a silence, missed super onto Lana. Drage also has a super of his own. He has that pull ready to go, but no one can block it, so he's going to try and play aggressive. Drage might try and block it out, or rather bait it out once again. No one is going to pop it. That gadget's on cooldown. Not too much of a concern for the guy. Drage is too far away to be dealt with. Alonso still, he has that looming threat of a tick super too, but just like we've seen before, Tribe, they gradually push these guys back. No one almost gets tapped up there by Tom, but we still find ourselves in a 3v3. The poison is a looming threat though.
Yeah, that 3 super advantage has shifted around. Now we have 3 on the side of Tribe. Who is gonna take the game and potentially the match here, as Tribe are still in a good position. Let's see if Zest can even get out of that spawn position. They are starting to move back towards the mid. Eventually the gas will force them to. Alonso is very low HP. Some good tanking from Loco to keep him up as the tick head comes in. Connection out to Tom. He's low HP. It's a bit of a mess. 1 kill, 2 kills, 1v1, no one. And he finds the kill. Zest are not out just yet. They keep fighting Tribe off as yet another set goes all the way.
Zest, they refuse to go down without a fight, without at least one game to their name. And no one, I don't think anyone said, well, maybe no one himself, right? But no one saw this coming. Zest, they got to get one more game victory in here to push us to a set number 4, and hopefully on their side, go for the reverse sweep, but they're the major underdogs, and they are still locked into a match point on the side of Tribe Gaming EU.
Wow! Tom shuts down no one on the left-hand side. Alonso not in the best position either. Loco also getting isolated on the right-hand side. This is not the start Zest wanted. They really wanted to hold on to that momentum, but that's not gonna be an option anymore. 2 supers on both sides. Doubt they will be using them here as they really want to transfer them over to the next round. Tribe Gaming EU again. This is their shot at the quarterfinals. They need just a single round.
Ultimate match point here for Tribe Gaming EU. Just one round is all they need. Each kill here could be permanent for the rest of the World Finals. There's the pull that we needed to see. Right onto the Tick Super. Almost a kill. Oh my gosh, that was almost a huge blunder there by Drage. Thankfully for him, he's able to stay alive. Here comes another super, and down goes the... In return, down goes no one. Alonso, he's tapped out by the smoke, and it's just Loco versus the world.
Loco in the 1v2 of his career. Can he turn it around? Or is this where Zest falls? They fought brilliantly, and they can be proud of their performance today, taking already 3 games off Tribe Gaming, the #1 seed in EMEA. But this is gonna be an incredible challenge for Loco. I don't know if there is much of a chance at all, but he's gonna give it his all either way. Does have the mute, but at last, Tribe close it out, and they are locked in for the quarterfinals.
Tribe Gaming EU, a dominating team throughout the year, and a dominating team in the World Finals as well. Celebrations all around on the Tribe bleachers, and a clean victory for the guys, though not without some spots in there. A game victory in each set for Zest, despite a 3-0 match record. That's got to be something that they are proud of. Number 3 seed in LATAM South. No one expected them to be bringing out this kind of performance, and yet they stood up to the Titans. They gave it their best shot, and they got some game victories as well.
Man, there was not all that much in it, considering it's a 3-0.
Yeah.
It does not do Zest justice. They performed incredibly well today, and they can be very proud of all that they achieved. Look at that one. Beautiful as well. Man. Nearly taken home, just a little bit in it. But Tribe, they remain ice cold and unmoved here, as Zest did throw a little bit of a wrench in their plans here and there, catch them off guard multiple times, especially in those first games of the sets. But in the end, Tribe able to just adapt better and learn from their mistake, adjust, and that made all the difference today.
Absolutely, and I think adaptation is really the name of the game here today, because you adapt to things that, of course, you're not familiar with, you have not seen before, and I don't typically see a tank pick into a couple of tank counters when it comes to Heist, and likewise, the jump pad strategy with Gale on Hot Zone, it sort of worked in the first game of that set, and it sort of fell flat after that. Tom, oh man, with 11 kills and knockout, and for a game mode like Knockout, that is super meaningful. This is the world champion of 2019 of the roster, seriously showing why he still got it.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, man, the anchor truly for Tribe Gaming EU, and we expect Drage and Lena to pop off most of the time, but he's always there, always performing, and our MVP does go to Drage. He performed brilliantly in the 2 first sets, and honestly, even in the third, those gene pulls were violent, true in and true out. The 17-year-old British player was yet again a great performance, as we'd expect from Tribe Game.
Extremely impressive, and also laying to rest any concerns about a maybe inconsistent roster as well. As we move towards the end of the year, they started getting very, very dominant, and even versus a team like Zest, admittedly, they did lose 3 games overall across all of those sets. But I think we can really chalk that up to a strong showing from Zest. But as far as tomorrow, I mean, we still got to find an opponent for them, sure, but I expect a strong showing from this team.
Yeah, it did not feel like Tribe were, you know, struggling, to be fair. It felt like Zest were just a much fiercer opponent than most of us have anticipated. It does mean that 2 out of our 3 LATAM South teams are now officially out. There's 1 left, and you guys can see on the screen who they're facing.
It is going to be a doozy. It is going to be an extremely tough roster. And of course, if you want to predict what the outcome of this match is and hopefully win some in-game rewards, some nice goodies, a skin at the end of the road as well, event.brawlstars.com is the place to go. Place your predictions, interact with the stream. You saw the predictions on stream earlier. It was 15% in favor of Zest. Not amazing, but that's what the people said, and it's what you can say too if you head on over to the platform and vote. But of course, we're thinking ahead to this next matchup as well. ZETA Division 0 versus Chasmac Gaming BR, and we've already said goodbye, as you mentioned, to two of those teams from LATAM South. This is second seed from LATAM South in form of Chasmac Gaming BR. Do you think they have what it takes to stay in the competition and continue to represent this region?
Man, it's a tough one because there's so much on the line. I mean, not only is it the last LATAM South representative at the World Finals, but their sister team, Chasmac Gaming EU, the same org, right? They got knocked out by ZETA Division 1 yesterday. So, brutal start of the World Finals here for both LATAM South and Chasmac specifically. I mean, it's a tough one for Chasmac here because ZETA are just so good.
Well, let's flip the script, right? ZETA Division 0, let's talk about them. It's been a pretty good World Final so far for ZETA Division, the sister team as well, and just the East Asia region overall. ZETA Division 0, we're going to be welcoming them to the stage and all of the teams as well. Let's hand it over to Damascus.
Et il fallait bien qu'on aille dans la foule, il y a beaucoup de bruit, est-ce qu'on est chaud Paris? Il y a du bruit, un premier match, un bon premier match, c'est l'heure de lancer le deuxième match. On a eu la Division 1 qui a gagné hier dans un clash des mêmes organisations et c'est l'heure pour la deuxième équipe, pour leurs collègues. Ils ont deux champions du monde dans leur équipe. Un max de bruit pour ZETA Division 0!
ZETA Division 0, represented by Tensai, Achabi, and Kuru. Two world finalists on their team, two world champions on their team, those being Tensai and Achabi. Extremely mechanically skilled players and legends in the Brawl Stars scene for good reason.
Absolutely so. I mean, legends, not even in the making, but already accomplished, looking for more this year as well. I mean, they didn't quite qualify for MSIs. There was only one spot for East Asia, and the battles between the two ZETAs were just so fierce, and ZETA 1 just barely won over them, but that's still 3 monthly final wins, second place in SBS APAC, and overall just an amazing year for the ZETA Division org. And ZETA Division 0, according to their manager, which manages both teams, he said that 0 were better. But let's see their opposition. It's gonna be CMG.
Et de l'autre côté, on a vu Chasmac Gaming EU hier, il en reste un représentant de Chasmac Gaming. Cette fois, c'est l'Amérique du Sud. Le Brésil, c'est le pays le plus représenté dans ces finales avec 8 joueurs et Chasmac Gaming qui est un peu le dernier espoir. Un max de bruit, s'il vous plaît, pour Chasmac Gaming do Brasil!
Tufa, Pekka, and Firecrow. Edinho also in the back, ready in case, you know, in another match they want to swap, as they do have a 4-player roster. They are the second seed in LATAM South. They did play the World Finals 2021 with INTZ, got top 4, didn't quite qualify for MSI this year, but they did win 2 monthly finals and the Keizo Cup Summer in LATAM. Overall, a team with a lot of accomplishments and a lot of experience on the international stage.
They were extremely strong going into this year. Of course, as you mentioned, being former INTZ, those members of INTZ being Firecrow, Tufa, and Edinho. And you said, Edinho, he's going to be taking a seat for now, right? He's going to be on the bench for a bit. And Pekka, well, he's going to be taking his place. Pekka, an addition early this year, has been a complete powerhouse on this roster, leading them to victories in numerous monthly finals in their home region. However, how will they be able to stand up versus arguably the most dominant region in the world with both ZETA teams qualifying?
Both teams have a point of in common as well, is that they have a bit of a World Finals rookie brought onto Worlds 2022 as Kuru for ZETA Division 0 and then Pekka for CMG Brazil. Both it's going to be their first World Final, so maybe a little bit more nervous than the rest, but they are very well surrounded, as we said. I mean, last year, Tensai and Champi, they got first place. They are literally our current world champions. But then Fine Crow and Tufa, they still place top 4, so not all that far behind. This is going to be a fun match for sure, and no matter what, those guys, they always somehow manage to perform on the big stage.
Well, from the perspective of ZETA Division Zero here, right, let's talk about them. Tensai and Achapi, they don't have Shtetapo on that roster anymore, and when we put those two teams head-to-head, which one usually wins? ZETA Division Zero, they've taken 3 monthly finals in their region. The remaining 4 do go to ZETA Division 1. I mean, it's a lead by 1 monthly final. While it might just seem like 1 match or 1 monthly final, it's a pretty big difference, and we've seen just how dominant they can be already throughout the season. MSI champions as well, but ZETA Division Zero versus that team taking a win over them, there are no slouches as well. You could almost say by proxy they did pretty well at MSI, but I think that's stretching the script just a little bit. That said, I think there's a clear underdog in this matchup. ZETA Division Zero, a lot of people are expecting them to win. You and I predicted them to win. I wonder what the people on event.brawlstars.com predicted them to win, but we'll touch on that in just a moment. First, we got to talk about our first map of this set. We're going to be heading into Brawl Ball, and here's the prediction. Oh, another 15-85.
Yeah, very one-sided for sure, and I don't blame you guys. I absolutely don't blame you guys, but I think the odds are a little bit closer, for sure. I mean, Chasmac, yes, they are the underdogs, but they've also proven in the past that many times when they were the underdogs, they won. And it's not like it happened only once, it's happened multiple times in the past, so they've proven that they might not be that much of an underdog anymore. Our bands are lined up. It's going to be Janet, B, and Buster on the side of ZETA. Chasmac taking out Barley, Janet, and Squeak. A first pick of Otis on their side.
I'm definitely liking the Otis here, especially because you can silence some tanks that appear on the other side, and that's something that you want to be preparing yourself for when you have first pick, and thus the enemy has last pick. Here's a penny, and this brawler, at least in Brawl Ball, has fallen quite a bit in popularity recently, and you know, while it might seem shaky, if it seems shaky to you, I think that the win rate seems a little bit shaky for ZETA Division Zero on this particular mode. They only have a 33% win rate in Brawl Ball, which is a little bit surprising. At Chasmac Gaming, on the other hand, definitely respectable, somewhere around 50% win rate as well. A distinct advantage there. How do you compare the regions to each other? I'd say it's apples to oranges. We've got to see what brawlers come out next. It's going to be Stu, actually, from ZETA Zero, and probably will offer some good options to break open walls.
Yeah, I mean, there's few brawlers as mechanical as the Stu, and Tensai and the rest of ZETA Division Zero know that they can abuse it, try to just, you know, out-mechanic their opponents, make them look powerless. That is going to be the goal for ZETA Zero. Let's see what pick number 2 and 3 are going to be on the side of Chasmac, as they want to find some answers here to deal with that penny and that Stu. It's going to be an Ash, bringing in a whole other level of aggression for Super Beach. I'm very curious to see how they want to, what they want to pair that with. If they maybe want to go, you know, something like a Poco, maybe a bit more rare nowadays, like a Byron could still catch them off guard. It's just something we don't see a whole lot anymore, but it could still be enough to just power it through, especially when you initially spawn really close to your opponent's goal. That can be very dangerous. We'll see, though, as their final pick kicks in. It's going to be the max, so instead of healing, they'll go for more speed, so you spend less time taking damage, so you need less healing.
I really expected to see a Gale here, actually, but I understand why you would want to be comparing that max speed. Yeah, and here's a Gale response. I mean, I think really the discussion on Chasmac Gaming's BR side, internally on those comms, had to be, how do you guys feel about facing Gale here? You don't mind? Okay, cool. We'll pick max, right? Because with a tank such as this, there's really one best counter when it comes to Brawl Ball. Unless you can really open things up, you decide to go for a B. It's Gale, dude. You lock that ball in the corner, you can throw up the twister, you can protect that ball for a full 36 seconds or so by use of that gadget. It can be quite toxic in some scenarios as well, but ball cornering, it's always the meta. Let's get into it. Chasmac Gaming BR, they're already getting aggressive up this right lane with Tufa, but they have to be cautious not to feed that turret to a Choppy so fast, because it can be a supreme game changer.
Well, Tufa's movement's been near flawless so far, but not able to really find all that much positioning. An opening kill inside of ZETA Division Zero. Karuk going in onto Fire Crow, and Tensai nearly finishes the job as well. Not quite, though. And Bull is still very close to that middle line. Tensai and Kuru both taking quite a beating there, and Pekka initiating that ball towards the right side as Tufa is looking for some opportunities, but he knows that Tensai has that super. It's not quite going to be a stun, and he goes in onto a Chappy. That should be the kill. A bit of a miss there, and gets away with nothing there as Kuru will fall to Fire Crow, but there is a potential push coming in from ZETA Division 0.
Suboptimal there from Chasmac Gaming BR, just a bit of a blunder, but nothing they cannot recover from. A little speed in, though, is not going to be met with much in response from ZETA Division 0. They have that very threatening super from Tensai. Also, with so many walls broken open, Kuru's going to have a little bit more movement, but Firecrow can still operate at range. Not going to be too much of an issue, though. Kuru's dashing right back up to Pekka to try and get rid of him. Tufa, though, is still a looming threat on the right side, certainly giving some trouble to Achapi in terms of positioning, but not too much to offer in terms of damage. It looks like that turret moves up just a little bit more. ZETA Division 0, they're playing this game slow and controlled. They intend on continuously pushing that line of offense closer and closer to Chasmac's goal. But Chasmac Gaming, they can respond just as fast with a little bit of speed and a little bit of a guy called Ash.
Yeah, that missed mute from Firecrow also just disrupts the potential retake of the mid that Chasmac had planned. Let's see if that is gonna bite them back. As so far, they are able to get some good control as Tufa moving forwards. Tensai is gonna get that stun down. Tufa still up, a nice heal as well. That comes through. Firecrow with the splash to get Kuru out of position, but he's dashing in and out and in and out. Eventually does get caught by Firecrow. Chance maybe for Pekka. He's going for it. Let's see if he can get it in. Oh my goodness! Pekka just goes through the entire team of ZETA Division 0, and surely that should be the first game. 5 seconds left. Is there a chance? I don't think so. And Chasmac, they'll be taking game 1.
You could see the nasty plot forming in the guy's head from a mile away, and yet it still came through. What on earth is this from Pekka? That's why they picked this guy up on the roster. That is why they are such a powerhouse now. And to take that first game off of ZETA Division 0 is such a statement, but we also saw it with the previous underdog match, right? We cannot call the match just yet. In fact, far from it already. Good aggression on the left side. Kuru is going to be winning that lane matchup. Tufa on the right side also having significantly more trouble than he did in that first game. Now brought down to a 2v3, but soon to be a 3v3 once more as Pekka resumes his position on that left lane.
Yeah, Tufa considering going aggressive on the right side, and this could be a big chance here for CMG if they're not careful on the side of ZETA, but they defuse that push quite efficiently. Let's see if they can hold it up as Tensai does get muted. He goes down. Kuru in a tough positioning, goes down too, but that burn onto Pekka keeps him too low to really attempt any sort of push. That means that for now, ZETA Division are still in the clear, but Pekka has that super, and we saw earlier how quickly things can escalate.
We'll talk about quickness. Here comes Pekka around the left side. He's got some bad intentions. Oh no, he's going for it. Well, it pays off, at least in the form of 1 kill. Choppy's going to attempt to play it defensive with this ball. Good kill as well onto Pekka. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you can only get away with 1 time a match. Tufa, he also had an idea of going for that ball, but Kuru respawned just in time. He does have his rage meter filled all the way up. It's going to peter off a little bit, but he does get the speed back from Pekka. Now looks for a positioning. Has to be cautious of Tensai because that is his biggest counter. And here comes a little bit of damage from Firecrow. Kuru continues to charge forward, taken down in close range by Pekka. It's now down to a 3v2. A Choppy, he could get close in here if he's not careful. Great stun. Tensai with a fire up towards the top side, still gets taken down. Got to see the pass of the Firecrow. Maybe something up to Tufa. Everything slows down. And it's a goal for Chasmac.
Wow, Chasmac, they score again. And ZETA Division 0 need to start being really careful if they still want to stand a chance in that first set. There's 30 seconds left and they're still short a goal.
Tufa around the right side. He's going to opt to corner this one and play a little bit more defensive. He knows how guarded Achapi can be on his in lane, but thankfully here's the lane swap. Tensai also cycles out of super that way. Tufa charged right in. What was he expecting to get hit right in the face by the super? Certainly. Pekka, though, is still getting super aggressive. There's a kill blowing right through Tensai. Achapi falls shortly after. It's just Tufa versus Kuru, and he's going to be approaching this goal with nothing but bad intentions. Corner in the ball. There it is. You pick Gale, you expect to corner the ball yourself, and he'll show you how it's done with the Ash. Amazing play. Really the last thing I expected here, but when we look at the stats, it's the weakest mode for ZETA 0 and Chasmac Gaming BR. Man, did they show these guys up.
I mean, how often do you just, you know, corner up the ball in your opponent's side of the map? Beautiful stuff from Chasmac Gaming, and what an explosive start here to this round of 16 match. ZETA Division 0 challenged off the bat, but as you mentioned, Brawl is, you know, arguably a better mode for Chasmac. So they had the matchup here. I think their draft definitely was a surprising one, and they popped off. They popped off, and just look at the energy from Chasmac. Pekka, amazing max performance against the Zetas themselves, and that's coming from a rookie, a first-timer here at the World Finals. Phenomenal stuff off the bat from Chasmac.
You just gotta be worried when they pick a Max and an Ashe, and you can absolutely go for a Gale yourself. They know something that you don't, and what Chasmac Gaming BR knows is, well, how to get a whole lot of kills, but it seems like Kuru also tuned into those lectures as well, because the guy's looking pretty clean with some kills on his side. However, kills, they're not the objective here, right? It's brawl, ball. You put the ball in the goal. It's not that simple. However, Chasmac Gaming BR sure make it look that way.
Yeah, I know you're American. We know how football works over here in the MEA in Paris. Just kidding. But yeah, you're right though. Playing the objective is key, and as we are moving on here to Heist, it's gonna be key as well. You know, it's taking a very long time actually to really develop the meta and the main strategies for this game mode. It used to be more focused on, you know, getting kills, and then it was more about keeping control and getting some chip damage on save, a bit more slow of an approach. But yeah, as we can see from the bans, there are some crazy options available at the moment in Heist, and Buzz is definitely one of them that is going to be banned out here by ZETA Division 0, as well as the Ems and the Barley. Chasmac banning out Buster, Gale, and Carl. First pick for ZETA Division. Let's see what they go for.
Well, they have banned out Barley, so that is one major thing eliminated for them. Here's Ruffs, and well, I guess you can play the Ruffs like a choppy. There it is. I mean, it's in the Rise Up to the Top song. Like, what were you really expecting from the dude? Response, however, not going to be Barley. It is banned out. There are abundant ways to deal with it, but Carl has also been banned out. Penny, maybe something, but anything that can pierce through those sandbags is going to be quite viable for forcing him to run the second gadget instead. Still, a lot of other simply good options that you can go for here. A lot of things that Chasmac Gaming BR could go for. They can get creative here with a couple of picks on their side.
Yeah, definitely plentiful of options, and Rico is definitely one I love. I feel like Rico is still in a really good place. Bouncy Castle is one of the stronger gadgets in the game, but just his bounce mechanic enables him so many different options and just out lanes. In the pure 1v1, he is more often than not going to be superior than the Ruffs as well, and his super counters the heck out of Ruffs sandbags too, so you have some great matchups there. Let's see what Chasmac Gaming BR decide to pair it with, and it's gonna be an Otis, a brawler that has become more and more of a staple of Heist. I remember when Otis released, and especially once he got buffed, we saw him a lot in Heist, not very successful most of the time, but teams have really figured out how to bring the most out of that brawler.
And I mean, talk about min-maxing here, just to get some good value out of that gadget, use it to counter out the Ruff specs. You can throw down that shot right on top of the Colonel Ruff specs, take him out pretty easily, unless of course they're placed around the corner.
You have so much DPS with Otis, just shoot at the sandbags.
Oh, it's the thing, I said the thing, I said the thing.
No.
I knew it, I knew it.
No.
I wasn't about to say it today because it kind of fell flat on his face yesterday, but I'm a big fan of the Nita here. Now, what I'm not a fan of is how it's going to interact with Otis and how it's going to interact with Rico, and yeah.
I don't see it. I didn't see it yesterday for Stalwart versus Team Queso. I said it, and it didn't work. I'm gonna be honest. I have more faith in ZETA Division 0, especially when they add a max to the lineup. But I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm never convinced by the Nita, at least not in the recent meta. I want to be surprised. I want to be shocked, and ZETA Division 0, they have the capability to do so for sure.
Well, there is a wall break possibility. You can max speed into the enemy base, maybe. I think really the big story here is that Nita, she's here expressively to counter out a tank as a last pick from Chasmac Gaming BR, which is very, very threatening. There's not a single tank counter on the side of ZETA Division 0 with the exception of NaVi. And while she might be the #1 that comes to mind when you think of tank counters, she farms supers off of them so easily. She gets them in 4 or 5 shots. It can be really, really easy looking when you get down to it when it's played properly. Here's a spike though, and I think really every single one of these brawlers is going to be fairly good versus NaVi. The only exception in my mind is Otis because he can't peek the shots as effectively as NaVi can. She has a deceptively large hitbox, and I also think it's just a brawler that people aren't really used to playing against because she's been out of the meta for so long, and maybe ZETA 0 are planning to bring it back.
It's 3 shot against both the Spike and the Rico, which can be quite scary if they get too close or don't have a clear angle. Let's find out though as we jump into the second set, and so far it is ZETA just a little bit more defensive as Firecrow is trying to find an opening, takes quite a bit of damage. Tensai is low HP as well. Pekka is just navigating towards that save, is gonna get pinched, should be going down here, actually gets a bouncy castle off, and oh my goodness, the Chappie does shut him down, but still some damage done there as it is a 2-on-2, a Chappie heading towards that save. Let's see how this one plays out as Kuru also gets into a good angle on the left side.
And Choppy on the right side, he's making sure to go for some pinches here. Here's the bear, it's going right over that wall, and now it's Tufa and Pekka's problem with the faux fur. It's taking so much damage, and now with all the shots baited out, Tensai and Kuru get to commit. Firecrow, he silences a sandbag. Oh no! Pekka, he still has a super. Could be a bouncy castle pretty soon. He had to wait for that shot to reload. Meanwhile, down goes Tensai as well. Kuru stays barely alive. The final shot for Pekka coming in, but 19% has been knocked off so far. Final shot in there from Firecrow to eliminate a Choppy. And now that ZETA 0 find themselves on defense, they could have some troubles. Tensai has to get close to these guys and give them some speed so they don't get locked into their spawn. Already so much damage is flying in on that save.
Yeah, that trade is not going to be too bad for either sides. Opening up the walls here as well on the left-hand side is huge for Kuru. Pekka now does not have nearly as good of a position anymore and is forced to fall back, concede a large amount of map control. A great super from Tupa as well, and Chappie has nowhere to go. Surely they punish him, and yeah, eventually the curveball catches him, and that is going to be the chance to get some damage on safe. Lead now in favor of Chasmac. Not a big one, but a dangerous one.
Firecrow, he's on super low health. Tensai's going to go for the speed in. Firecrow with the silence. Kuru is safe and sound on the left side. Tensai is also hiding behind this this obstacle. Little trade out there on the mid lane. Pekka's still trying to body block as best as he can, but there's only 15 seconds left for Chasmac Gaming BR to return fire and bring things back. Tufa certainly working on it. Curveball's coming in, perfectly dodging out the safe. He needs to get something in there. Here's the super. It's not going to be enough. They need a lot of damage. Pekka's going to have a lot to offer as well. How are things looking on the enemy safe? Well, Chasmac Gaming BR pulls ahead. Achapi tries his best to defend, but there's no response. And Chasmac Gaming BR take a 3rd game in a row.
Oh my goodness. Chasmac are on fire. They were behind for the vast majority of that game, and yet the last couple of seconds they turn it around. I think Kuru on the right hand side was just Tufa on the right hand side was doing a fantastic job on this spy, getting tons of value, and just that positioning was key in unlocking things further on. Let's see if we see a second set in the hands of Chasmac, or if ZETA Division 0 can catch up.
Well, already some good damage flying in from Tensai and Choppy on the right side. Choppy's getting good dodges versus the curveballs. He needs to close in and get that super though, but he's outranged by every single one of these brawlers. Still good dodges, but eventually pinched out by Tufa and Firecrow. Tensai now migrating around the left side, being careful about not giving Tufa the heal. Here it comes, a heal onto Tufa to keep himself alive as well. But Chasmac Gaming BR have taken a hefty amount of damage on their save, and they get to return back to mid, but not without some deep battle scars.
Yeah, a 33% lead is very good on the side of ZETA Division 0. But we saw earlier that Chasmac have the capability to retake and turn things around. A 1-for-1 trade in the mid as Firecrow is gonna be dropping, and a chance for a little bit of damage from Tufa on save. He is in a tough spot, forced to pop out a gadget. The heal does connect, so he should be able to reset quite nicely as the Chappie is pushing with a bear, and that bear is what really sells NaVi in this sort of situations. Kuru low HP as well. Firecrow gonna whip a couple shots, does get a kill in the end. The Chappie is pushing forward with the bear, and the bear is getting the connection. The value is unreal from ZETA Division. That save is all the way down to 16%. and Chasmac are way, way, way too far behind right now.
Only 16% left on that safe, and not a whole lot of time to work with 40 seconds, and the clock is quickly ticking down. ZETA on the left side are just going crazy. The amount of wall break is severely limiting what Pekka has to offer. Firecrow might be the next to get pinched out here. Little wall break, easy access for Tensai. Just needs to dodge at the last shots from Tufa to confirm the kill, and ZETA bring it back. It is going to go to a game number 3 in this set, and they interrupt the win streak of Chasmac Gaming BR.
3 games in a row on the side of Chasmac, and ZETA, they managed to break that streak. Getting there first now, and a chance perhaps to take the set with it in this next one. Let's find out. Pekka on the right-hand side, trying to get that off angle onto a Chappie. Is getting some connections, a pinch with Firecrow, but a lot of damage from Tensai, and that is gonna be a clean kill from the Asian Max down in the mid. Let's see if that positioning can keep getting better and better for ZETA.
Pekka continues to win this right lane matchup as well. Definitely a prudent decision. A little damage from Firecrow as well. Choppy goes down. Pekka, now he has his sight set on that safe, but so do Tensai and Kuru. Here comes the defense from Tufa, and he blocks off this entire lane with this super. Beautifully played and just very well timed. Pekka, meanwhile, has gotten a considerable amount of damage. He even has a super to work with. Choppy takes a little bit of damage, but not enough to take him down. Meanwhile, Tensai also fielding 2 different brawlers attacking him at the same time. And there's a wall break from Kuru on the left side. We saw it much earlier in the game last time. It lent itself to a much faster and more convincing victory by ZETA. To see it earlier, rather later in the game like this with a minute 30 on the clock, it's not a great look for ZETA, but they're only trailing by a small margin.
Yeah, it's not a lot when it comes to save damage that makes the difference, but it could be enough. We've seen it happen so many times in the past. Kuru with some beautiful curveball dodges on the left-hand side, making sure he stays up, and eventually he does make a bit of a mistake, gets reset, and that could be the chance that Tufa needs to push up that lane. Firecrow does connect the mute onto Tensai. He's already quite low. I think he will survive it, but not with a whole lot of HP. Kuru does find Firecrow. A Chappie gets the connection on Pekka. Is surely going to be a shot or 2 away from that bear, but will even get there as he does eventually get shut down. Pekka a chance to get some more damage on save. Kuru gets caught in the middle of the shot, and that super melts him down. Even more of a lead now for Chasmac, but there is still plenty of opportunities in those final 30 seconds for ZETA to turn it around.
Not sure if that was a clean or an absolutely filthy play there by Pekka just moments ago. He still has yet another gadget ready for the remainder of the match. Only 15 seconds left. He's going to have to find some use out of it. Meanwhile, Tensai is going to fall. No, never mind. 51 health left. He could have a shot. No, taken down by that curveball from Tufa. A little bit more damage offer here at the end. A Choppy and Kuru are going for it, but their safe is melting as we speak. Just 3 seconds left, and it's a surefire victory for Chasmac Gaming BR. They take set number 2 off of ZETA.
Chasmac Gaming BR are making Latam South proud so far. 2 sets in a row, and ZETA Division, I mean, wow, they're struggling. We have yet to see that really this year. They've been mainly struggling against each other, right, between the 2 sister teams. This time around, it seems like Chasmac might just do it, avenge their own sister team of Chasmac Gaming EU that fell against ZETA Division 1 just yesterday in the first match of the World Finals 22. What a performance so far from Chasmac, and I like the risks that were taken by ZETA. The NiDA brought in here as well, but they did such a good job on Chasmac's side of things to shut it down. We barely saw any barriers. There were just so few, and it's really the selling point when it comes to NiDA.
Unfortunate situation there. I mean, risks taken by ZETA, and I think a lot of people would say these guys, they're the current reigning world champions as well. Do they really need to take risks in order to get a victory here? Well, we're moving into a very, very consistent mode for ZETA Division 0. Bounty, a 77% win rate, and only 52% win rate on the side of Chasmac Gaming BR. Unfortunate situation. It could be an advantage for ZETA.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes down, as this is one they need to turn around. It's been challenging, but so far Chasmac are looking fierce. They are looking absolutely dangerous, and they got the first pick here as well. Our bands here for layer cake are going to be Gene, Penny and Tick from the side of ZETA Division 0. Chasmac banning out Squeak, Carl, and Max.
Liking what we could have possibly as the very first pick, because as Tick is banned out, yep, Janet was the first thing that came to my mind, and it seems to be the first thing that came to Chasmac's mind as well. A very consistent brawler too, one that can operate pretty well at range, can also throw down a gadget that provides a large area of influence, just a little bit of chip damage that pretty much entirely prevents you from pushing in. A frustrating one to face, one that can also get in super aggressive and steal all of your stars, fly right back out as well. A pretty safe pick, I think, for Chasmac Gaming BR here, and one that doesn't have very clear counters.
Certainly so. Gus is in a really good place at the moment as well. Does just really good against a lot of matchups. Doesn't really have any clear counters or brawlers he absolutely can't deal with. Similar to Janet to that extent, for different reasons though. It's an amazing support brawler, has amazing potential in straight up one-on-one duels. And it's just very, very good overall as an early pick to throw into the mix, as we have another pick pending here from ZETA Division 0. It's going to be the Otis.
I definitely like Otis just as a pick in general, but ZETA Division 0, they do have the last pick. They might also be looking for it to sort of prevent Chasmac from taking some brawlers that are simply good versus tanks, or things that can get in close range that could upset things towards the end. Carl has been banned out by Chasmac Gaming BR. Fang still remains, Buzz still remains, just anything that can upset things a little bit, but Chasmac still, they have 2 picks in a row that they can go for that counter out tanks and make sure that that kind of situation does not happen.
Well, we get that bow in the mix, and I like it. I like it. I always like bow. I think especially, you know, if your opponents are maybe a little bit nervous because they are on the biggest stage that Brawl Stars has seen in a very, very long time. That can definitely be a challenge to deal with, you know, those bow arrows and get those dodges out, keep track of the mines sometimes as well. And it's going to be paired with a Gale as the final pick on the side of Chasmac Gaming BR. And I don't know exactly what the plan is with the Gale. Maybe they are expecting some, you know, big aggression on the side of ZETA Division 0. I'm probably not the most fond of that idea so far. Let's find out what ZETA Division 0's answer is, and it's going to be a Sprout, and I think it has a lot of potential to dominate here.
I absolutely agree, and I think particularly versus Gale or Bo, but I think also it's kind of a big risk considering that Tufa is going to be breaking open walls pretty effectively. I mean, there's a little bit of debate as to which gadget is he actually running here as well. I mean, obviously, no Bo Totem Cheese strat coming along here, but still, some players have been running Tripwire now as a pretty viable strategy. It's also maybe going to be more effective to break open walls, which would be quite good versus Kuru. Really going out on a limb with that one, it's not very popular. We'll have to see what Pekka has to offer. He hasn't dropped down a totem just yet. Maybe it'll be to take some damage from Tensai. So far on the mid matchup though, Tensai's playing very, very patient. Pekka's taking big damage. There's the blue star going the way of ZETA Division 0, and they're getting away safely.
Yeah, a lot of damage onto those Chasmac players, but no kills just yet. Blue star giving the lead to ZETA Division 0. A Chappie gets the kill, but gets taken out, and a follow-up from Tensai, taking down Fire Crow, and Kuru locking out Pekka from accessing the rest of the map. Has to walk all the way around. A jump pad from Fire Crow, not quite gonna result in anything besides forcing him back.
Kuru also baiting out some of these mines. Pekka just looking for anything he possibly can at mid. Tensai is still staying alive here, gradually backing up, just kind of baiting Pekka into that defense. Kuru, meanwhile, is looking for something tricky versus Firecrow. It's a difficult matchup for Firecrow as well because he lacks the range. There's the kill as well. I mean, just filthy. That is a matchup and diff, a brawler diff on that lane. And ZETA 0 continue their domination in this game with 45 on the clock.
Yeah, so far the Gale has been struggling, and I already addressed my doubts regarding that brawler pick here. Let's see if he can redeem himself. Perhaps his mines are going to be placed down. First one defused already by Kuru, as he's still looking for different angles, and that is going to be a couple more walls out of the picture, meaning Kuru will struggle just a little bit more on the left-hand side, but so far he's really just been having a fantastic Sprout game, as Tensai is rather low HP, but still up. Pekka gets reset on the heal as well. The mute onto Firecrow, and a Chappie. He found the one, but can he stay up? It's looking good for ZETA Division 0 as they get a dominant win here for the first game of Bounty.
One of the strongest modes for Zeta Division 0 and the single weakest mode for Chasmac Gaming BR. And I think it's absolutely showing here a very clear-cut game here and a great way for Zeta Division 0 to change the momentum, switch things around, and try not to get swept 3-0. I don't think that was really a possibility to begin with, but hey, Chasmac Gaming BR, they surprised us all by taking the first 2 sets. They're still only 1 game away from heading on to a match point. They gotta take this one if they want to get there, and already they've gotten so aggressive off the beginning of the game, and they've been punished pretty much not at all. Tufa's gonna be picking up that blue star quite easily, and now they aim to continue the aggression. Oh, a little reverse to jump pad there. Not maybe what yeah, what's going on here, Teddy?
Yeah, I think you realize that was just a gadget that just, you know, is not going to be all that useful. It's going to use it to get out of there. Kur rolls off access to that lane anyways. A nice connection from Tensai here to find the first kill, and Chasmac, they no longer have the lead that picking up the blue star gave them. 2-5 trying to force things open on the left side. Not sure what he's hoping to achieve here, although he does take it up into the air. Kuru is low, but no overcommitment from 2-5. Firecrow jumps in and gets punished for it. Kuru is ready, shuts him down, and things are not looking half bad for Zeta here.
not even half bad at all. Zeta Division 0 are looking quite clean, and they have those supers on lock, ready to go at a moment's notice. A Choppy, especially on the right side, has the silence. If Pekka even thinks about pushing in, there's the clean kill on the guy with the full clip to finish him off. Meanwhile, Firecrow, he continues to have some issues on this lane versus Crew. He's simply outmatched here, and he's going to try and get that super for free with Pekka. A little jump pad action as well, but Tufa falls once more. And with only 20 seconds left, Chasmac Gaming BR can afford nothing less than a team wipe if they want to bring it back.
Yeah, that is gonna need maybe a miracle or even more than that, as I don't see it happening at this point. 5 seconds left. Firecrow pushing in a stun onto a Chappie, but even he lives. Tufa is gonna fly away, and look from up there how Zeta Division 0 turn things around and take the set of Bounty. What a way to turn things around as well. That was a dominant set, and that should be bringing back the momentum towards the Japanese side of things.
Some sighs, some smiles, some signs of relief, a little bit of crowd pleasing as well from the side of Zeta 0 as they get the cheers going as well. They are in for the revenge tour after those first couple of sets, and in a dominant way too. Not a single kill on the side of Chasmac Gaming BR throughout that, but I think we could say that Chasmac Gaming BR offered a similarly dominant performance when it came to Brawl Ball, which was their more dominant mode as well. The stats, they don't often lie. This is one of those situations. We'll have to see if Zeta Division 0 or Chasmac Gaming BR is favored by the next set, but so far, Zeta 0, they're looking clean on a track record to get back into their usual form.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll see it on the stats in just a second, but I don't know if you guys at home realized, if you guys kept track of the stars and the kills, but look at them, there's one. I'm saying the kills, it's the kill singular on the side of Chasmac Gaming BR, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys again. I think that kill pick was a huge mistake. I'm assuming they wanted to prevent, you know, maybe a Daryl or something over aggressive to show up on the final pick for Zeta Division 0, but it didn't show up, and that leaves you open with a guild that has 0 good matchups, that is not good in Bounty, that is not good against any of those brawlers, and for me it was just a massive mispick, or at least whatever strategy they had in mind was far from working. They still have a set here to reset and maybe get that 3-1, still cause a massive upset, but after that, if we go to set 5, I mean, that would be really dangerous for Chasmac, and I would start really siding heavily towards Zeta Division 0 taking the whole match.
Oh, totally. I mean, it would also be a complete spectacle to watch, which we always root for out here. We always want to see more Brawl Stars gracing our screens. And Ring of Fire, it's one of those maps where I've said it once and I'll say it again. I feel like every team has a horror story on this map. It seems to always come down to this map towards the end, and it could be the end of Zeta Division 0 if they don't play their cards carefully. First pick coming in for Chasmac Gaming BR very, very soon here in a matter of seconds. And that means also that Zeta Division 0 can afford the last pick. Max, it wasn't banned out, and Chasmac Gaming BR are going for it right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a brawl that you want to leave open for Zeta Division 0, is it? First pick Max for Chasmac. Just reading out the bans quickly as well. It's going to be Penny as well as Meg and Crow on the side of ZETA. Chasmac are going to be banning out Poco, Lola, and Lou. Good bans all around. I do feel like Max was one of those bigger openings. I think potentially his 2 could be a way to address it, or rather match that same sort of high mobility brawler. Bam is an option as well. Not one I particularly love, but one that has functioned quite all right in the past, and they'll match it with the Ruffs, which I do think is quite a decent pairing. Get them buffed up, and then suddenly that Pam is going nowhere, really, and trying to camp down in that zone. I don't mind the comp from ZETA so far. I'm really curious, though, to see what Chasmac have in mind, because they've been so fun to watch when it comes to their comps.
Well, they have to do something to deal with the refs. Otherwise, those sandbags are going to be pretty irritating to deal with, especially when a Choppy has a lot of health pool to offer. Not just being, you know, Pam, right, and having the thickness and having a whole lot of health to offer, but also having that healing station down, which everyone can crowd around and, you know, gather around the campfire and have some fun. Here comes Tufa, though, with the squeak pick, and that's going to be nice for locking down a lane or perhaps a main entry point into mid. It's going to lose a lot of value once Tensai breaks open that wall, the sort of block that's on the left side, and it can simply be walked around. So as long as they're careful about giving that super to him too early, then they can get tremendous value with Squeak in particular, and all around just a pretty good brawler in general. When we come to the last pick, though, they gotta find something that combos well with the Mags and also can deal with the Pam, because the Pam is gonna be ready with that scrap sucker anytime they even think about pushing in. And there's the Otis. I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
I like it. I think maybe Rico could also have been an option, as Tensai could potentially over-aggress the lanes on the side. It is a bit of an odd map, right? You can go very stacked towards the middle. You can have 2 players mid, one on one of the lanes, whether it's more defensive or offensive. There's a lot of different possibilities when it comes to Ring of Fire, and I'm curious to see how they will deal with that refs when it comes to the actual game. As we have the final pick coming in for ZETA Division 0, it is...
0. 2 zeros.
Oh,
in fact,
oh, there's
2 segs.
two.
Well, I mean, ZETA Division 0, right? They love their zeros, I suppose.
It's
Okay,
Griff.
there it is. Griff, we were talking about this one earlier. We love the guy, and he's pretty good at mid. He's great at denying some aggressive charges in, just keeping you completely on the edge of his range because he has a lot of health to offer, and he has a lot of damage to offer, too. I like this strategy from ZETA 0. They just got to make sure that they get those supers out early and get them out often, too.
Yeah, a bit more snowball on the side of ZETA Division 0, but a longer setup time. Because, you know, getting that healing station or dishing out those streaks to buff up your teammates is going to take a little bit of time. And as you can see already in the early game, that means Chasmac have the advantage. They have a lot of supers, though. A Chappy has one of his own. Let's see how he decides to utilize that. I think he already opened up the walls on the left side earlier, or that was probably the Griff, actually. Pekka getting out of the zone at last, but not before granting Chasmac a 37 early lead.
Tufa on the right side, also trying to block things out versus Kuru. He does get a couple of taps here, also has a super to offer as well. Almost gets Kuru there, though. He's all sped up. Good victory as well by Pekka. A Choppy falls. Chasmac Gaming BR, they refuse to leave this point. Tensai's trying to do whatever he can, but with the walls broken open on the left side, sure, it meant that Squeak had a lot less value, but Squeak has just adapted. Moved over to the right side, but now Kuru pushes in tremendous value. He's going to be just a few coins away from that next super to continue pushing things back. There's no doubt in my mind. 1 health on. What? The survival from Firecrow. He goes down shortly after, but the survival is certainly impressive. Chasmac Gaming BR, they try to retaliate, but ZETA Division 0 wipe him out, and they got that mid control back.
Yeah, it looked like Chasmac were getting away with this one. That match point was imminent, but ZETA Division 0 are catching up. A couple percent behind now, about to overtake them. Tufa going for a super. He does get the connection up to Tensai. That should be some free damage, but good teamwork from ZETA Division 0 to distract that from happening, as Chasmac are trying their best to really get that foothold in the mid. It's a couple percentages in their favor. Pekka was a phase shifter. Chappy gets muted, goes down. Kuru in a 1v1. Now as he gets a kill, he's low HP, and the connection from Tufa has a super. It is still the lead for ZETA Division 0, but it's so incredibly close.
It's a war of attrition. Whoever dies first is dead forever, and you just got to keep on slugging away at those enemies because they are charging in with health all the time, endlessly. Quick takedown of that super and a silence on Kuru, but it doesn't stop the guy. Tensai refuses to leave this point. He's going to have to be removed with force. But Tufa, Pekka, Fire Crow, they don't want to take the risk here. Tensai, Achapi, Crew, they just keep on popping in and out of that. Here comes the supply drop as well for Tensai. A kill onto Fire Crow. It's not looking good for Chasmac Gaming BR. In fact, it might all end here. There's the game victory for ZETA Division 0. No match point for you.
Wow! 2 sets lead. That's what Chasmac managed to build up until now. We are a game away from being all tied up, from going all the way to the 5th and final set for the first time in these World Finals 22. Let's find out if ZETA Division 0 can do it, or if Chasmac Gaming get to match point.
Mid area blocked off. Attempt from Achapi to clear things out, but it's not going to be super successful. This is the early game victory for Chasmac Gaming BR as they have things cleared out by, wow, never mind. Here comes Kuru changing things out. A little wall break as well. Tensai and Achapi quickly flipped the script and now are quickly approaching that percentage and now eclipsing what's been captured so far by Chasmac Gaming BR.
Back up, has speed, gonna pump it solo. Achapi getting that buff out, gets picked up, but eventually, I mean, yeah, that is gonna be a nice kill for Tufa to pick up, make sure that buff is out of the picture as well. Tensai taking a decent bit of damage and has to reposition after that gadget from Tufa is gonna be slowing down that left-hand side of the zone. A little bit of a lead still for ZETA, but not a massive one, and good mid presence from Chasmac now as well as Tufa goes for a super connection onto Achapi. That should be a free kill. Pekka just swoops by and finds a nice flank now to take down the healing station, get some big damage onto Tensai, and a chance for Chasmac to start catching up again.
But Kuru refuses to leave this back left corner. Firecrow's trying to contend him on his own. It's going to be difficult. Firecrow goes down. Tensai assumes the domination at mid as well. The guy just refuses to die. Pekka and Tufa can try all they wish, but it won't be enough. Achapi also falls to Tufa, and the tree is left stranded on the ground way further than ZETA 0 can reach at the moment. But Chasmac Gaming BR are still in the back foot as well. Kuru gets a kill once again on Firecrow. He will go down to the super, and a quick dispelling there by Pekka. But along the way, ZETA Division 0 have gotten so much capture, and they're getting past that area of no return.
Set 5 is so close now. But let's see, because Chasmac, they're not giving up just yet. They want to keep every inch of an advantage that they've built up in the last half an hour. Tensai gonna get tagged up again. That healing station not gonna last for very long. ZETA Division 0, they are dangerously close to the finish line here. See if they can make it happen. As Chasmac are catching up, but slowly. There's only 40 seconds left on the clock as well. Kuru gets muted. He's gonna go. Oh, never mind, not quite down. The heal comes just in time to keep him up. This is a chance here for ZETA Division 0. They find a kill. It's traded out. Tensai is low. A connection onto Kuru as well, but it's enough for ZETA Division 0 to tie things up and push things all the way to set 5.
Reverse sweep from ZETA Division 0 could be coming in. The first 2 sets went confidently the way of Chasmac Gaming BR. And look at the smiles on their faces. At some point, you'll wonder, was this the plan all along? Was ZETA Division 0 just planning to get a reverse sweep for the crowd? With all of the interaction, with all of the cheering as well, you can't help but wonder just a little bit because of how clear-cut things have been in the last
I saw their
sets.
faces at the end of the second set. I can tell that was not planned. I've never seen them look this non-confident, but
Really?
yet in set 3, they turn things around. Set 4, they keep that momentum up, and now, I mean, we're going to set 5, which already most of you guys would not have expected. But what's crazy about it as well is that this is a whole lot of momentum that ZETA Division 0 have built up. Achapi and Kuru both tied on 6 kills. Top of the leaderboards for Hot Zone is going to be Pekka on the side of Chasmac. Had a fantastic set, but not quite enough to lock in that match point that they desperately wanted on the side of Chasmac.
And look at that DPS they had to offer as well. ZETA Division 0, they were taking a beating health-wise. However, they had so much health coming in. They had Griff just passively healing up. They had Pam as well. Always very, very high health, going to be throwing down that turret repeatedly and staying in the mix. And we saw it from Tensai the entire time. Now headed into the final set, set number 5. This one set determines who heads on to the quarterfinals and whose year of effort gets left in the dust in the round of 16.
The nerves and the pressure is going to be rising up here on both sides as a single set is going to decide who moves on to the quarterfinals and who goes home without nearly what they were hoping for coming into the World Finals 2022. Bel's Rock knockout. That is going to be intense. Who can hold on the best under pressure, as Sprout, B, and Tick are going to be banned out by ZETA Division 1. Chasmac Gaming BR banning out the Bonnie, Gus, and Max. And the first pick of Brock to open up those walls for Chasmac BR.
I definitely like this pick because the intention is very clear. Break open the walls, because I see a thrower that is not banned here that could be pretty good as a last pick, and that's got to be Grom. And they're not willing to take the risk of picking a thrower that early. It's why you pick it as a last pick, because they're so straightforward to counter with things such as this. Brock, he's also fantastic now with the reload gear, and he also has that star power that offers a lot more rockets on his super, which can unexpectedly get some kills that you wouldn't usually get.
We've seen that happen in the past. I mean, massive damage output. Gene, I think, is a very solid response. Does well in an open map, which usually you want to do when you have a Brock on your team, but also just incredible, whether it's the magic puffs, whether it's the pull, it's just so incredibly versatile. And even the Vengeful Spirits nowadays are considered as a very strong gadget in most options. Are you facing something tanky? Just, go for the knockback. And there's so many different possibilities with that brawler. It's very versatile. Another incredibly versatile brawler is going to be Belle. I mean, it's her home, right? We are going to be watching Bel's Rock, so might as well bring her on the table. And I appreciate what both teams are doing, at least so far, not taking any wild risks, because they know so much depends on this single draft.
I mean, I'm personally more of a wild risk guy myself. I mean, I do like to see some risky stuff here every now and then. 5 seconds left for Chasmac Gaming BR to choose their next brawler too. It's going to be Piper, actually. Combine that with the wall break that Brock has to offer, and you have something quite dangerous, but they have to make sure that they don't dig themselves into a hole here where they could be vulnerable to something like Fang, which is looking like more and more of a possibility.
Yeah, this is going to be an intense final set, I can already tell you. Sharpshooters left and right. What is this final pick from Chasmac Gaming BR gonna be? Are they gonna go in the same direction, long range, high damage? Or will they go for, well, it is quite long range, quite high damage, but very different, a lot of utility as well with the mute, a lot of possibilities to close out those games as well. Once those rounds get to the later stages, it's gonna be your closer. When Brock and Piper don't really want to be up close and forced in close quarters combat, Otis is perfect for that. Let's find out though what the reaction and final pick of this match is gonna be as ZETA Division 0 make their decision. It's gonna be Janet.
It's a safe pick, pretty much, and you can throw down that turret. It gets some good control for you. It's probably going to fall almost instantly to P.E.K.K.'s gadget when he pops it down, so ZETA Division 0, they need to get lucky in terms of where they have those lane matchups off the beginning of the game, because Bel's Rock, it's not the worst to lane swap, but when you do lane swap, you can forfeit a lot of area control, and that's the last thing that you want to do when the mid is where the game takes place towards the end, when the poison closes you all in. Here come the lane matchups, and Tensai, he's going to be at mid, and so is Firecrow. No gadget yet from Tensai. Here comes the first one from Firecrow. He's actually forcing Tensai into those bushes. Not an area that you want to find yourself in the early game, but thankfully there's no one to pinch him off. What was that from Tufa? A choppy goes down, and it's a 3v2.
That is a massive opening for Chasmac BR as Firecrow finds another. Tensai goes down. It's only Kuru in a 1v3, a homemade recipe, I believe, that connects from P.E.K.K.A. Not sure if that was useful, but they want to make sure that Kuru doesn't get away with a free mark for the next round. And yeah, good jukes from Kuru, but eventually the final connection from P.E.K.K.A. is going to give the round to Chasmac. They are still in this game. They are still in this match, and they are a round away from a match point.
Here comes the lane swap. Kuru boasts a slight range advantage versus Tufa, but Tufa's going to be trying to lay down the law with Incendiary too. Tensai still at mid, also continues keeping things back. It's pretty much an even fight here. Achapi is also going to be helping out Tensai, even if he concedes a little bit of damage to Firecrow with those magic puffs. But Achapi also has a range advantage over Piper. Going to be continuously pushing her back. Only 1,000 health left on P.E.K.K.A. Oh, Recipe not going to get the kill on Achapi, though. Kuru still forced back. Firecrow looks for something. He has a super at the ready. No contact there with the reflected shot from Bell. And still no kills here, but Tufa has to be extremely cautious about this right side, though he does have a super at the ready. In fact, all of Chasmac Gaming BR do, and Achapi is ready to punish them for any aggression with his magic hand.
A lot of close calls, especially on the side of ZETA Division 0. Their gene pool is still an absolute threat, especially as we get towards the end game. for this round. A gadget from Tensai to pull up to Fire Crow. That's going to be a kill, a 2v2, low HP across the board. Tensai going for the pinch onto Pekka, a good connection, a 1v1, no, but Pekka jumps into the gas. He's gonna fall, and this game goes to round 3 as well.
A super close game, and it's all coming down to the very last round here to determine who is the first wielder of that match point. Chasmac Gaming BR need to bring this one back, but they have to do it very, very carefully because they are outranged in a few regards here. Pekka, though, on the left lane, he has saved a homemade recipe for the very end. Oh my gosh, he was just in range, and Chasmac Gaming BR are in a 2v3.
Wow, that bull as well! A choppy! Deletes Fire Crow, and Tufa knows it's over here as it's gonna be match point for ZETA Division 0. Ice cold, as now it's a single game separating ZETA Division 0 from the quarterfinals, and here as well from the full-on reverse sweep. Unbelievable stuff.
Textbook definition of a reverse sweep right here. In ZETA Division 0, they plan to see it to completion. Chasmac Gaming BR stands firmly in their path, and they will not relent for even a second. Lane matchups here too, looking quite good for Chasmac Gaming BR. Early kill by Pekka around the right side. A 3v2 now. Tensai continues to push Brock back, and these matchups start to shift just a little bit. A Choppy, he's playing extremely cautiously. Tensai, he's dodging out these shots like no one's business, but not versus Pekka. The pinch comes through, and it's a Choppy versus the world.
A Choppy goes down to Pekka. Pekka was just an absolute flawless opening round. As they are facing that match point from ZETA Division 0, Chasmac, they have not given up just yet. They'll fight all the way until the end, and they want that double match point. Can they reach it? A couple whiff shots from Pekka on the right-hand side will make that a bit more difficult, but he does connect the follow-up onto Tensai, keeping him low and making sure he doesn't overcommit too far. Not in the best position HP-wise. A Chappy gets to reset his heals as well. There's a pull available for Chappy. We know how strong he is with those. Tensai's pushing forward, 2-5 stuck. He's going down, and man advantage for ZETA.
Oh my gosh, and Kuru absolutely deletes the left side. Tensai diffs the right, and we are at the ultimate match point. 1 round remains for ZETA Division 0 to claim their victory here and now, or Chasmac Gaming BR to flip this one in the complete opposite direction. And a Choppy on the right side continues to chip down Tufa, continuously outranging him, and has that super at the ready. Dodge super there, a little pass damage round to Pekka. Good stuff for Kuru.
Yeah.
Good
No,
stuff.
not a
Kuru's
chance.
down.
Wow, beautiful stuff from Chasmac. They find another. Tensai falls, and it's only a Choppy in a 1v3. A desperate attempt that he could try with that pull, but he needs to find a target, and CMG are not willing to get anyone in range. That should be double match point coming up ready.
Yeah, it's Chasmac Gaming BR right now. They're just playing with their food. A Choppy's fighting for his life, but it was chalked from the moment he was locked in a 1v3. It's a double match point incoming, and the last thing that so many people expected here, 85% voting in favor of ZETA Division 0, and now it comes down to a double match point to decide whether 85% go home right or 15% of the believers remain victorious.
I think there might be a little bit of a problem. The player cam showed us as well that the players were, calling for admins and not moving out of their spawn. I'm assuming this will be replayed, as I'm assuming a game crashed or something along those lines. It happens. It happens. It's always tough to get every single device running properly, and at times we'll have to do some of those rematches. Don't have a confirmation just yet from production, so I'm just assuming so far, but that would be a dramatic way to end the series.
It sure would be a dramatic way to end the series. That double match point as well for something like this to happen is just crazy. The pressure continues to build, and who's getting iced here? Who is getting sort of their nerves drawn out the most possible? Who's the most confident going into this match? All questions that we don't have the answer to, and also we're still trying to figure out what exactly is going on. However, rest assured, we're going to be heading back into that match very, very soon here. I have a lot of expectations, though. We saw consistent good gameplay, I think, from both teams there. I think a lot of it also came down to specific lane matchups and when the walls were broken open to give any particular team the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming one of the players' device just crashed or stopped working. It happened to me when we were rehearsing and trying out the devices, so I can relate. It felt bad, you know, it felt bad, but I can't imagine how it feels for them now, as that was some good momentum for Chasmac, bringing it back to all the way to double match point. The crowd has been going nuts, supporting both teams a fair amount, impressed by Chasmac's performance, honestly, and also a lot of ZETA fans all around. I mean, it's East Asia has been the region that everyone has had their eyes on this year, and obviously the reason is both ZETA teams.
And can you really blame him, though? Because ZETA Division Zero has 2 world champion players. Both Tensai and Achapi are residing on this roster. They are immortalized in Brawl Stars history. In the Rise Up to the Top song, we hear Achapi on the roughs as well, Tensai on the max, let's go, and all of that fun stuff. But, I mean, we haven't gotten to see too much of the max from the guys. I think it's just, a little bit too intimidating. Everyone knows that you got to ban max, or you got to pick max versus these dudes. And I think that also speaks volumes about just how much respect they command when they load into a game. You don't let them get particular brawlers. They have a reputation that precedes them, and it's absolutely deserved. They are going to double match point. Either team is 1 game away from taking the victory and heading on to the quarterfinals.
Yeah, we are watching some replays right now, guys. Don't get overexcited just yet. We'll keep you guys up to date with everything that's happening, but I mean, for obvious reasons, everyone behind the scenes is making sure that everyone can compete on a fair footing with no problems on the technical side, so that we can have that final game we deserve and determine who between ZETA Division Zero and Chasmac Gaming BR will be making it to the quarterfinals and who goes home. Again, both teams have had incredible results in the past. ZETA Division Zero, no need to even mention their achievements. I'll still do it. World champions of 2021. So yeah, the expectations are there. 2 of their players, as you mentioned, it's Tensai and Achapi that were world champions just last year. But on the side of CMG, they also have 2 players that made it to top 4 last year. I think they even made it to top 4 in 2020 as well, but that goes way back. Still, incredibly experienced teams, teams that have achieved a lot as well, and yet one of them is going home top 16 today. One of them is moving on to the quarters. Wow, the pressure is up.
The pressure is on, and there's a whole lot at stake as well, simply because an entire year's worth of effort could be laid to rest right here. And now, after all of these games, it's come down to a single game. And in Knockout, it's going to come down to a single round. Your death is going to be permanent.
I heard some information from production. Don't want to cut you down, but you'll want to hear this. We are going back into the final game, double match point. It's going to be same everything, right? Same brawler, same draft. Just that final game is going to be replayed, as they were not able to play it through. Wow. I mean, again, just want to say it one more time. How much is on the line here for both teams? They've grinded true in and true out this 2022 season in their home regions. ZETA Division Zero, that was East Asia. For CMG, Brazil, obviously, South America, so Latin South. A lot of expectations on both sides, and the fans at home from both of those regions are going to be biting their nails, as right now CMGBR are the last representatives of LATAM South, the final hope for LATAM, and they've made them proud. We know that for sure. But can they actually make it happen? Can they take down ZETA Division Zero, or is ZETA gonna full-on reverse sweep them? Wow, what a storyline, Reddy.
Dude, at this point, the nerves are getting to me too. Like, I'm feeling the second-hand nerves as well, because it has been going on. How long has it been since we have had a double match point that is extended over probably like 10 minutes now? The pressure has to be mounting. Who is able to deal with it the best? It's no longer a game of adaptation. It is a game of focus in being able, in zen, and being able to calm yourself down, not let the pressure get to you, not let the nerves, the huge crowd that we have at this venue get to you either. It's gonna be a tough one for both sides.
Absolutely so. This entire match has been a tough one for both sides. We've had some really one-sided games, some more one-sided sets too, but then some incredible brawl and close games. And so far, this final set seems to be the closest one as well. I think one of the big challenges when you have such a sort of technical issue in the final set as well at double match point is who has enough ice in their veins, who can keep their calm and get back in that situation with the momentum they had earlier, with the mood, with the concentration that they had, because now it's been a couple of minutes and both teams are, you know, their tongues are gonna be getting a little bit colder and their minds might not be quite as fresh, but they only got one shot, they only got one game, and we are jumping in. ZETA Division 0 versus Chasmac Gaming BR, the final game.
It's all come to a head here. Deaths could be permanent, and Firecrow is already setting his sights on one target in particular. Tensai, he's gonna get pitched really hard. No, never mind. Down goes Pekka. Firecrow's going for it. Unfortunately, trips up. That gets her on the side. Down goes Firecrow too. Kuro goes for it. An amazing bounce play, and Tufa falls. Round 1 goes to ZETA 0.
The trick shot from Kuro connects, and now we have ZETA Division 0 again on the verge of taking this match. Chasmac, they fought valiantly in the previous game to take it back and bring it to double match point. A homemade recipe connects onto a Chappie. Quite low HP, but able to reset and heal back up. Tensai, a bit lonely in the mid, but does always have that super to get straight into the air and back to safety if need be. This is intense because Chasmac have no map control whatsoever. Can they find some sort of a pinch, some sort of relief here? As right now, ZETA are looking devastating.
Achapi has a super as well that he can use. Pekka and Firecrow are both on low health, not really anywhere to go. Tensai's going for it. Pekka, he's taking so much damage, a kill on a Tufa and Pekka. ZETA Division 0, they're headed on to the quarterfinals.
They have done it. ZETA Division 0 knock out CMGBR as they will be moving forwards to the quarterfinals and remove the final chance here for LATAM South to redeem themselves. Got it. You can see it from their faces, how much passion goes into it. And you gotta feel for them. You gotta feel for them because that was an incredible performance from Chasmac. Wow, I'm still at a loss of words, honestly, because that's one of the best performances we have seen from them ever. And it's in a round of 16 that knocks them out of the running for those World Finals 2022. But huge respect to them. ZETA, man, all the way until the end. You can never count them out, and that is not only the first match that goes all the way to set 5, not only the first match that goes all the way to double match point, it's the full first reverse sweep of the World Finals 22, and what other team to do it than ZETA Division 0?
ZETA Division 0 and their sister team, they're now locked in those quarterfinals, facing versus both of the Chasmac sister teams too. A valiant effort that was posed yesterday, but a seriously impressive one that completely blew us away from Chasmac Gaming BR here. Just amazing stuff from this team. In fact, both of them as well, but only one victor can head on into the next round, unfortunately. And it means that the hopes of LATAM South, for now, are laid to rest.
Yeah, it's gonna have to wait for you know, the World Finals 2023. Unfortunately for LATAM South, as all of their representatives have been sent home. Don't worry, they're still in Paris having fun, enjoying Disneyland, hanging out with all the homies from the other teams, but they're not going to be competing anymore. And it's sad, we've pretty much always had a LATAM South team make it quite far into our World Finals bracket, but this year it's not quite going to be the case. Wow, what a start of the day already. Just in case you guys missed it, Tribe Gaming EU 3-0 Zest, but honestly, Zest, they played fantastic. That was the performance of the year from Zest. But yet, Tribe Gaming EU, they managed to reverse sweep 2 sets in a row, and in the end, they took that match quite nicely. For ZETA Division 0 versus Chasmac Gaming Brazil, that was the closest match yet at the World Finals. If you look upwards in the bracket, mostly 3-0s and 3-1, and 1-3-1. That 3-2 there, that was one stacked match, and one we didn't really see coming. Most people, I mean, you guys at home said 85% said ZETA Division 0 will take it. Well, I mean, I'm sad for the 15% of you that saw the potential of Chasmac, but you guys can still be very, very proud of your prediction as well, because you pretty much got it right. They were so close to make it happen.
2 matches done already, 2 to come very, very soon. It has been an exhilarating day through and through, but we're only halfway through. We're going to be going to a quick break, and we'll come back with the next 2 matches in day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals.
The 2022 Brawl Stars World Finals are back, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon us for that. It's been an insane day of games so far. We're glad to be back here. Myself, Mitch Leslie, here, joined by Ark. That last match definitely not going the way we expected it to. Really impressed to see the moxie, the pluckiness of that Chasmac Gaming BR team, but sadly, they fall just short.
It was so exciting, wasn't it? I mean, it really, really was. Chasmac Gaming BR coming out swinging and showing us that no one in this competition is invincible.
Yeah, let's have a look back at the bracket review and see how we got to where we are now, because there's still 2 more games left in this round of 16. Today, first up, of course, we saw Tribe Gaming EU take down Zest, and then that absolute barn burner between ZETA Division 0 and Chasmac Gaming Brazil. Incredible match, one we won't soon forget. But there's more of those in store for us, because coming right up is Tribe Gaming NA going up against NaVi, and then Reconic Esports take on SK Gaming.
Yeah, that is going to be an interesting one, but Tribe Gaming NA and NaVi, oh, they are very, very closely matched. There's a lot of support for NaVi as well, so they're going to have a ton of support in that respect. I don't know, it's going to be a very close one to call.
Yeah, so, I mean, again, now we've been looking ahead, of course, at our predictions and towards our potential quarterfinal matchups. Now, we've been pretty safe so far with our predictions, almost getting completely boomed in that match number 6. But this next one, this is where we tend to disagree. Teddy being the lone dissident, and you can kind of see where he's coming from. We are dealing with, in NaVi, last year's grand finalists, coming in second place, runner-up, really impressive team. And they had a slow start this year, right? They got folded into that EMEA region a little bit later on, but they made up for lost time pretty quickly.
Exactly that. You know, NaVi have got that World Finals experience at the latest possible stage. But in terms of a LAN setting, that's where Tribe Gaming NA have a bit of an edge. Now, for Tribe Gaming NA, you know, it was a really fantastic flying start to the year. Towards the end, there was some results along the way in September and August that weren't great for them. So it's about having left that in the past, coming in fresh here today, and reminding themselves of who they are.
Yeah, again, look, we started to see a lot more parity become established in that North America and LATAM North region, right? Especially teams like Vatra Gaming turning up. This Tribe team losing to Obey Alliance, of all teams, in the most recent sort of monthly final quarterfinals. Definitely an upset loss for them, and they're starting to realize, hang about, the rest of the field here is looking really competitive in North America. We spent much of yesterday talking up Vatra Gaming because of how insane they've been over the second part of the season. NA is getting stronger and stronger. Tribe have to stay afloat.
Yeah, you know, they are a team with so much experience behind them, and that counts for a great deal. You know, the last couple of results weren't the best, let's be honest, but nonetheless, it's being able to pick yourselves up, and that's what's important.
And of course, for a team like Tribe NA, their LAN experience is basically unparalleled. These guys have been around the block quite a few times, and they're here to run it back once more. So let's head down to the stage, bring them out.
Et oui, on est au milieu de la scène. Il y a une très très bonne ambiance. Je suis au milieu de supporters de Tribe, donc on va devoir la faire en anglais. C'est un petit peu obligé. For all of you guys, this is good vibes right here. The Tribe Gaming crowd is absolutely insane. I have no idea if you guys can hear me, but you know what? I think it's time to say welcome. Their colleagues from Europe won earlier. It's time to welcome the kings of NA, Tribe Gaming!
Tribe Gaming NA really have proved themselves to be the powerhouse of the North America and LATAM North region. Zulan, Aslivi, Tyrant and Corey have set the precedent for dominance with 5 grand final appearances and 4 grand final wins under their belt. With a whopping 965 points earned throughout the year, they towered over their rivals and are no strangers to the World Finals, looking to make it 3rd time lucky to get their hands on that BSC trophy.
Some harsh lessons learned recently by your March, May, July and August NA and LATAM North monthly champions. Tribe NA has started to realize that in order to stay afloat, in order to stay ahead of the pack, they had to come up with something different. Aslivi really infusing this team with some youth and more vivacity. But let's now get ready to meet Tribe's opponents.
Et on est toujours là, on a ramené, on ne pouvait pas avoir que du Tribe, on l'a refait en anglais. We couldn't have any Tribe, right? We need some NaVi fans to welcome one of the big teams as well. That's gonna be a massive one. Massive noise, max of noise for NaVi!
NaVi came into the competition a little later than others, but boy, did they make up for some lost time. MMA, Cubic, Angel Boy, and Alex have a fan following to move mountains and hold a reputation to match. The 2021 World Finals, they made the Grand Final, but fell just short to ZETA Division. Nonetheless, being within an arm's reach of gold only serves to add fuel to the fire, and through constant growth in this year's competition, they're coming in hot.
Natus Vincera means born to win in Latin, and this team has been on the rise. 2 second-place finishes in the September and October monthly finals. Yes, they start a little bit late over in the EMEA region, but they turn up with a bang. Previously, just dominating that EECA region, right? Felt like NaVi, head and shoulders above the rest, didn't have the competition, but these big fish jumped into an even bigger pond, and they still stay afloat. That's what you love to see, and they're here to show the world that EMEA reigns supreme.
Yeah, exactly. I love to watch constant progression in any competition, and that's what NaVi have really demonstrated. You know, they came in a bit late, but that didn't deter them. Their results in those early monthly finals weren't great, some quarterfinal exits, but towards the end, getting to that grand final, despite coming a little bit short, you know, to Tribe Gaming EU in that final month, they still made it consistently there, and I feel like they are coming in a very, very good place. Their mindset has got to be on point here today.
Special moment for this NaVi team who had to attend the World Finals last year remotely, all right? The lights, the action, the crowd, the energy was something that was foreign to them in that occasion, and they performed really well. Now the question is, what happens when we plonk you in the middle of the maelstrom that is our Disneyland Paris World Finals? That's the question. A lot of fans behind this NaVi team, and they're really hard not to like. Their sort of antics in the post-game, we see them on camera all the time, especially sort of shutting out SK Gaming in that October monthly final. They won 3-2. SK were put in a position where they have to try and reverse sweep, and they kind of shut them out. On Tribe's side of things, I do want to see what they've been working on here, because they've definitely been on shakier ground. I really do think it's less about them falling off, but more about the rest of the region, you know, moving up. And that's what they say, a rising tide lifts all ships, and you better hope that Tribe Gaming have got their floaties on.
Yeah, it was, you know, a tough September for Tribe Gaming NA, losing in that semi-finals to Vatra on that 2-3, and again in October, losing in the quarterfinals. It started to dwindle down, but then again, they had been the first team in the region to qualify for the World Finals. They can afford to take things a little bit easier, but for NaVi, it was a constant battle all the way until the end, and the draft now coming in. Let's see, Piper Band, Bonnie Band, and Colette on the side of Tribe Gaming NA for the bridge, for the map Bridge Too Far, Heist coming in. Carl, Max, and Daryl banned out by NaVi.
Characterized by these really long lanes. We saw what Daryl can do on this kind of map right earlier on. If you leave him alone with your safe, it's going to be blown to smithereens. Recoiling Rotator is ridiculous. It's sort of working that down and is very, very scary if it's going to charge more of those supers up. Teams were having to 1v2 that Daryl, give up the mid lane and just sort of try and collapse the side lane to answer that threat. So pretty prescient selection to ban here, and Carl also. NaVi don't want any of these shenanigans. This team is really aggressive. They have some really wacky takes on the metagame and sort of what to draft. It's what sort of makes this extra exciting. And MMA is up there on the stage. That's a rarity for this team.
Yeah, it's going to make a difference when it comes to the draft. The first pick going to be coming in soon. I love 8-bit on this map. I think that B also can have some great value. Despite that Daryl being banned, it's still going to pack a punch. Brock going to come in. That's going to allow for some interesting dynamics within that mid, being able to break everything open, and Eve therefore as well, you know, coming in on the side of Tribe. They're going to utilize a lot of their maneuverability on this map. There's a lot of water in which Eve can get a lot of value from just her natural abilities on this particular map. But it's going to be a long-range game, no doubt about it. And with the bans of Piper coming in, and there's the 8-bit for Tribe, you know, if you get that 8-bit in range of the safe, put the damage booster down, maybe even have a damage gear rolling in as well, you know, extra credits is going to get a lot of value on here.
Against sharpshooter-heavy compositions, Eve Super Baby Boom is actually quite powerful. Their low fire rate of sharpshooters makes it hard for them to deal with those sort of baby Eves that start to run at you. So that's definitely something worth considering. Provides a lot of pressure, and on a map like Bridge Too Far, it's very easy to hatch those, right? Throw that back behind you, keep it safe, and then set up in a big way. 8-bit is crucial. You can make those forays forward, right? Maybe go overextend, you could say, a little bit, get that safe pressure and then back up. Lola getting locked in next.
I like that from NaVi. It's one that they have gone to time and time again, and it is going to have a great deal of area spray, and there's always something to have on the left or right hand side lane. It can really scout those bushes for you and seek out and destroy. Third and final pick for NaVi coming in, and it's going to be a riskier time for them. They haven't really got much choice of a tank, and they're going to play a huge risk. Colt coming in. What a draft for NaVi. But here's the thing about Colt. It can get some tremendous taps, but you've got to land those shots, and that is where Tribe Gaming NA can make it very, very difficult in that respect and make sure those jukes are really on point.
Yeah, Cole obviously weaker against enemies that can strafe effectively or brawlers with high speed, but these lanes are really quite confined. So if you're just firing straight down the lane, it can be pretty hard to avoid the brunt of this damage. Of course, there's like the environmental destruction potential with Silver Bullet. Bell getting locked in here, probably not a huge surprise. Also, a nice pick against Lola, right? Either connect onto that Ego or Lola, get the shock bouncing back and forth, get extra damage, and also able to pressure. And again, one of the few sharpshooters left available at this point in the draft.
And that's why I'm kind of surprised that NaVi went with the Colt, because more often than not, when you see a Lola drafted, the follow-up is normally the counter to it. And it may have helped them out a little bit, and Tribe have got themselves in a good spot. The thing about the 8-bit, though, is the fact that in terms of maneuverability, much slower. Therefore, Colt shots can land far more effectively. So Zulan is going to have to get those turrets coming in really, really quickly.
What do you make of this double lane on the left-hand side from NaVi?
I mean, now the Bell shots are starting to ricochet between the two, I think they're going to start to second-guess it. But Livy is connecting so nicely on his own, and MMA jumping through, strains the shots of Zulan, he gets taken down, and now damage gear plus extra credits onto the safe.
That is bizarre. Rocket Lace is used to go across the lane and try and fight an 8-bit up close and personal. That guy is hefty.
You can't do that against an 8-bit. You can't. Now MMA being marked up in the mid is a concern, and the double right-hand side lane takedown was beautiful there for Tribe, as Livy can't quite find the shot on MMA, but Zulan once again coming in with some great damage, and look at this scoreline. In fact, NaVi have done a pretty decent job themselves of getting some, on their own.
Yeah, good pressure from that left-hand side lane at the start of the round now. Tyrant's hatching something. Let's see if it's a nasty plot or a goose egg. Shot down the middle here as Tyrant's able to keep a little bit of space, but NaVi's safe. He's pretty darn low. MMA under pressure once more as Livy starts to posture forward. Here come Tyrant and Co. And Zulan doesn't care about giving up his life. That's tons of damage. 14% on the safe.
Now Tribe have to try to slow the advance here. It's going to be a tough right-hand side lane, but Angel Boy goes low. A great takedown there from his Livy, and he's getting the shots on point. Tyrant comes in. It is done. The first game goes the way of Tribe.
We foreshadowed this a little bit about NaVi, right? Some of their drafts and some of their executions are kind of wild. And we just don't see much of MMA. Very much a spiritual leader for this team, right? A real captain's captain. But coming in here, again, a lot of pressure on him to deliver that same brand that we maybe saw from him last year. Tough start for NaVi.
Okay. Well, NaVi need to learn a little bit about that early game approach. And Tyrant does win the lane, 45 HP to his name. Great stuff from him, but and the juke on top of that, and the pickup. My word, Tyrant, that was lovely.
Again, if you can juke those Colt shots, he starts to become pretty vulnerable. Tyrant really laying claim towards the middle part of the map there. Love that little jump from him. Eventually will fall down to the incendiary field. MMA has to use rocket laces to get away, but as Livy is pressuring this right-hand side, Cubic tries to stand up to Zulan, and the pressure is decent, but reinforcements are on the way.
Yeah, just keeping NaVi mismarked though there from his Livy. The shots will ricochet though between both Angel Boy and the safe, and yeah, continuing to do just that. The spray down from Cubic is connecting onto Zulan, and Zulan is shooting for his life. He does go down. Now, can NaVi get out of this spawn and start to return some of this damage?
A lot of pressure now being applied to Tyrant as Angel Boy has knocked down some of those barriers in the middle part of the map. NaVi begin to smell that blood in the water. They like the staying power to keep pressuring down. MMA takes a salvo. He's so low, and now Tyrant's just trying to guess where he is. He guesses right.
Beautiful stuff. Honestly, Tribe are looking like they just have so much synergy right now. They're picking up the pieces every now and again, struggling to find NaVi within the bushes, but when they do, it's swift and quick takedowns. Tyrant now able to focus his attention onto the safe, and we haven't really seen much from NaVi in this round, and that's a concern.
Tyrant is getting everything he wants in this middle part of the map right now. Well, fast track back to spawn in that case, but still, as Livy's able to make the trade respond, QB going to get pressure from the backside as to waste a couple shots on those Evelings as they pressure down. Another damage amplifier from Zulan here. But really just to try and block some of these shots as Cubic lays it on thick. It's not enough though. Here comes Zulan posturing aggressively. It's 27 and counting on the safe. And Tyrant will stand once the smoke clears.
Yeah, it's kind of didn't quite position himself there with the Incendiary, but he had a great advantage to be able to get those shots. Nonetheless, though, I think the Tribe have done enough for now, and NaVi with no time really, except for Angel Boy all on his own. This one's done. Tribe Gaming NA are going to take this first set, and they looked very comfortable in doing so.
Something unexpected there from NaVi out of the draft. Cool, calm, and collected with Tribe, though. Picking a composition really styled to that kind of map. The Eve through mid from Tyrant as well, not something we see all the time, but anytime you can get value in him being able to cross lanes, collapse as well on them if he has to. Really love those looks here. Zulan on the 8-bit, again, putting himself up front and center in many of those fights and just saying, hey, I've got a large health pool, come at me. I'm gonna try and get pressure down on your safe. Strong fundamentals there from Tribe, really getting them over the line.
Yeah, it was a risky draft as well, wasn't it, from NaVi, and that little play there, a bit questionable, ultimately, then allowing Zulan just to kind of go in for free, and they just didn't really time their runs effectively in that respect, and a lot of the shots, a lot of the accuracy of Tribe, landing the mark, and as we see there, the energy of Tribe Gaming NA always shining through, and as things get more and more progressively through, Zulan is going to get louder and louder.
He's a guy that really starts to play to the crowds, really starts to feel the energy. This Tribe team is a pretty disappointing MSI run for them. They definitely expected more. According to SK Gaming in those semis, they are still very, very hungry, and I think this really tells much of the story here. Livy having a fantastic go of it on Bell.
Yeah, Tribe have been known in the past to, gain a little bit too much confidence too soon.
Sure.
I'm not going to necessarily bring up last year too much because, I'm sure when they watch back the VOD, it might be that switch.
Oh, you'll hear about it, yeah.
No thumbs down here today. But nonetheless, that's the start that you want to have at the World Finals. You really want to come in and make your mark. It gives you that confidence going into the second. It's a tough spot for NaVi. This is a LAN experience which they're not used to having. So being behind now is going to mean they're going to have that little bit of time to have those team talks to discuss what they need to change going in to Dueling Beetles.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Looking at the stage here, of course, MMA still there. NaVi have surplus players, of course. It's a 4-player roster for this team. On the side of Tribe, obviously Corey definitely stepping more into that coach analytical role, supporting that team, leveraging his leadership ability. Straight away, Penny's going to be locked away. Pretty popular pick here.
NaVi really love to run Penny. I remember my first conversation with them regarding draft, and they took it a little bit personal. But Penny here can do some great and wondrous things. The bans on the side of Tribe being Poco, I think, are smart. Banning Poco against Tribe, against NaVi, you have to do that. You really do. The Stu as well, getting rid of some aggression, and of course Buster. We know full well what that can achieve. Janet going to come in for Tribe Gaming NA. Some great value for it, and B as well to back it up just in the eventuality that NaVi bring in some tanks, which they are known to do.
Yeah, take a great all-rounder first here with Janet. Start to sculpt your draft a little bit with something a little bit longer range. The B, obviously great. Hunting molasses can be such a problem, especially if you're able to push up and you have the advantage. And then you can round it out. You can kind of see what NaVi go for. Now at least you have the chance to sort of preempt that last pick, the wacky one, right? As a Colt was locked in earlier on by NaVi. Tribe maybe prefer to be in this position now. Obviously, we sort of mentioned a couple times, we've seen a little bit of Buster here, but he's just not something that Tribe want to deal with. Bell, though, is on the table and snapped up.
And I really do like that pick. Bell now with the reload gear coming into play is just a real force to be reckoned with. The nest eggs as well onto the zone can deter you and take away valuable time that you just simply do not have in Dueling Beetles. It's quite a tough one. Crow coming in for NaVi. It's daring. It's kind of dropped a little bit away from the meta, but obviously with the slowing toxin, it is going to allow for those Bell and Penny shots to land the mark and just get that all-important value in.
Especially if you're in a scenario where you have to retake, right, and the defending team has to expose themselves to your Crow to some degree. The slowing toxins can be pretty straightforward to hit. Now, it's not an all-in, composition after the fact, but like you mentioned, slow targets are easy meat for Cubic and MMA on those picks. Sprout gotta be knocked in here. Corey sat on the bench like, that could be me, bro.
I mean, also with the slowing toxin, that penny turret is going to land more shots during that time as well. So I hope that whoever's playing it on the side of NaVi just time that perfectly. But Sprout can really just shut everything down here. I mean, with the lack of wall break, which NaVi have gone in and taken a bit of a risk with, I think that as Levy, if he's on that Sprout or whoever it is going to get a ton of value. And do get to really just shut off most of the map here. But you've got to earn it and just keep it cycling in, and that can sometimes be challenging.
So the right first steps have been taken by Tribe NA, but there still needs to be a conversion on the series. MMA will be trying to man the middle part of the map here as Tyrant, as we expected, attends. Is Livy, of course, as well. No, you notice here that Tribe aren't really spreading out into a lane to have to deal with Cubic. They're really trying to opt out of going one-to-one with him for the time being. MMA is starting to get aggressive, posturing forward, but he's punished instantly by a hedge behind, and Zulan chimes in from the right.
Amplified shot for Zulan. Oh, what a connection. Angel Boy now has damaged gear, but no HP to really contest the situation. Tyrant, and there's Livy coming through and just positioning himself forward, and Cubic now you have to be very, very cautious. That's the cycle you want, locking out MMA, but actually it does mean that it doesn't quite get the total coverage that they need.
Drop the base. So frustrating to deal with when you've got no choice but to stand in it and not be able to get healed up. Zulan now starting to get a bit comfortable here. MMA slowed up, the Iron Hive, and the shot to follow is good. Cubic has to sheepishly back up as Tribe start to lay it on even thicker. Angel Boy and MMA return. We definitely need to see some value from this Crow.
Yeah, it's really a bit of a struggle so far. Tyrant, though, is thinking about going in. Surely MMA is low here, and oh, Cubic. Angel Boy coming through. Vestek there in the mid, and that's not a bad thing for sure, but now, as Livy needs to get some value, he needs to get some takedowns here to really relieve some pressure. That's a good start. Tyrant behind the situation as well is going to keep some pressure on here. The comeback potential here, spot on. What a retake from Tribe.
Love that. Tyrant being absolutely obnoxious in the backline. He's requiring NaVi to commit 2 players in order to remove him. That opens the way for Tribe to move up onto the hot zone and start ticking up once more. Iron Hive doesn't connect, but the empowered shot does. Zulan in a very comfortable spot now. Henta's going to force NaVi back, and it's 86 and counting for the time being. MMA wants to push up here. Now looking for a flank, but as Livy is keeping him under the thumb for the entire round. Turret shots are coming in, and it's a trade at best for MMA, not what he's looking for. Tyrant now wants to try and extricate himself from the situation as Cubic and Angel Boy are looking imperious on the point.
Well, I think the Tribe, they can just get a little bit here and there. It's only 11% needed what to take down there from Zulan just to relieve a little bit of pressure. But NaVi have done a wondrous job so far. Now the penny turret is starting to connect in for 3% now, and Tyrant with a lovely takedown will take the game.
NaVi are getting beaten in the middle of the map for a second set in a row. Really struggling to take control of that hot zone out of that sort of one instance, as Livy is an absolute menace on this Sprout.
It's a great third and final pick, isn't it? It really is, and NaVi are struggling with it. Just maybe could have gone in with something else just to free things up. Oh, the value of that. Cubic left on 30 HP, and now everyone able to focus their attention onto both Angel Boy and Cubic. Tyrant goes down, but that ball is just going to keep cycling in as Livy is getting so much value from this Brawl.
And some free time on the point there, obviously, after that hedge came out. Now is Livy in a bit more of a vulnerable position, but Tyrant chimes in instantly. And Angel Boy has tried to make a lane swap here to find a better angle, but Zulan has eluded him thus far. Oh my! Dropped the base, actually almost claiming the life there of that bell. But NaVi going to have Angel Boy sit in the bleachers for the time being, to return only when 2 of his teammates are down. This is devastating for NaVi.
Tyrant is being a tyrant right now, isn't he? He's forcing NaVi to the right-hand side into the path and the firing range of Zulan. And he has a super, if he gets that connection, the missed mark. Angel Boy is going to be costly too. Penny Turret not going to connect as everyone on the side of Tribe keeping themselves moving. And now almost 20% left, and this set is Tribe's.
Cubic trying to move up here. But again, at best, it's a 2v3 for NaVi for much of the round. Always lacking that one player, and Angel Boy again eats another one from Zulan, dominating the right side lane. Tyrant's going to fly away in celebration as Tribe rack up another one.
It is looking like a red day so far, and no sign, really, of any black and yellow. Going into this next set, NaVi are going to have to start to make some changes. Their drafts at the moment for me is where that starts, and just kind of not foreseeing what is to come, you know, and keeping their options open a little bit. Some risky ideas. At the moment, I don't mind risk as long as it starts to pay off.
It's been a tumultuous year for this NaVi team, right? I mean, yeah, think about their situation just in many of their personal lives at the start of the year and in the last few months, and then obviously coming into the EMEA region a little late, sort of having to play catch up with everybody else, getting wins against SK, Team Kaizo, Chasmac EU in the Snapdragon Challenge recently. This team is a high caliber powerhouse. The fact is they're not able to show it against the best from NA and LATAM North.
Tribe Gaming, of course, you know, came second in the Season 1 of Snapdragon Pro Series. They didn't quite qualify for Season 2 this time around for those challenge finals. And look at there, as Livy, 9 to the 6 and the 6 of Tyrant and Zulan. But on the side of NaVi, just one singular takedown for MMA, one singular takedown for Cubic. And Angel Boy was doing a lot of those heavy lifting there. I just worry a little bit for NaVi at this stage. We haven't really seen enough resolve so far, and Tribe's confidence now is just kind of growing and growing.
Look, you know, don't blame MMA, you know, personally for not racking up a ton of those kills. He definitely wants to facilitate with that slowing toxin, but even when he wants to commit, when he wants to dive in with that swoop, he's getting blown up instantly. Maybe not being able to read the room as well as he'd like to, or just get a feel for just how much damage Tribe can output here. But this is last chance saloon. NaVi have one more opportunity to show us what they're made of, but they're going home.
Going into the sneaky fields then, and this is a NaVi map really, and a NaVi game mode. It's going to cater a lot to some tanks, some heal, you know, no max ban as well, no Poco ban. Ashe is a good one though for Tribe and bringing in the M's. I mean, it's a very underrated pick, but that mid lane is going to be under so much control, and you know, it is susceptible to barrel rolls and that kind of thing, but it can also hold those things at bay. So I do like where this is heading so far from Tribe. It's a nice, safe, early kind of pick, and I think NaVi, though, have got a lot of options here. Ultimately, I would go with the Max myself.
I mean, even among Brawl Ball maps, Sneaky Fields is pretty unique, right? Just for the amount of foliage that sort of envelops it here. So for that reason, we've seen a lot of brawlers sort of cater to that. Maybe Amber to try and sort of remove you know, some of that. Buster got through the ban phase. NaVi snap pick him up.
Yeah, right. It's rightly so, isn't it? It's just, this comp is starting to speak NaVi to me already, and that gives me some confidence. If they combine this with Poco, then Tribe could be in with a bit of trouble. I mean...
So here's a question for you.
Counter.
Does Montage reflect Em's spray?
Good question, actually. Yeah. It should.
Right?
It should do. Yeah, it's only a throwers at 10 to, so yep. It's still early days, of course, with Buster, but yeah, it should do.
Keep an eye out for that one. And you know, Gale's interesting. We've seen Gale get really punished when he's picked early in the order, when he falls down to a lot of those sort of more ranged brawlers. But this is the kind of map where tough to have that kind of success. It also means that there's like a preemptive answer to tanks. And also if Ems wants to try and come up with that caustic charisma and actually start to put some pressure down. What is the Lou?
Yeah.
Sorry?
It's a great counter to Buster. It is. North America and LATAM North have kind of been the first region that I've watched really start to tackle the Buster problem. And it was very interesting to watch just a couple of weeks ago when I saw it, but it actually did make a lot of sense. And Tribe Gaming NA just demonstrating just how on the ball they are when it comes to how to handle a really tough brawler like Buster. But it is a very strange comp, from Tribe. There's not much to kind of have in terms of synergy, but Ruffs could be the answer to that question. Just having some support there to keep everyone packing that punch.
I will say, pretty darn close range composition here for NaVi. So Ruffs definitely, must feel pretty decent for Tribe. Give them more of an opportunity to keep NaVi at arm's length. And big question for me is, what is his last pick here? What do we go for here? Cubic and Angel Boy obviously already locking in. Not sure where Alex is. He's looking on from the sidelines for the time being. What do we have here now? Max,
there you go. Love it. Yeah, absolutely so. I mean, Buster is already a very nerve-wracking thing to see coming straight towards you down that right or left-hand side lane. Having Max add that to the mix, and you are really going to be in a tough spot. And in a game mode like Brawl Ball, that is going to provide so much aggression. NaVi are all about that. We've yet to kind of see that from them today, and that's why I've been a bit worried. But now I'm feeling a bit better about this.
Remember, Buster charges his super when he's close to teammates, and that star power lets him do more damage when there's teammates close by. Already, he explodes forward and blows Tyrant to smithereens. This is already going from bad to worse here for Tribe. Zulan having to get that super down and recover the ball. That was shaky, though.
Yeah, but I did like the way that Zulan approached it, and Tribe just got to be a bit more cautious again. Oh, what a double stun from MMA. Beautiful teamwork there from NaVi. But can they get the ball? No, just going to play it slow. But as now Cubic comes back in, it does lead to some potential. Great break as well from Tyrant, going to open up some space.
The speed gear is so scary on Buster here. He can run you down so quickly as he starts to approach. But here's Livy now, getting a lot of scouting done, of course, with that primary fire. All of NaVi forced to try and leave the grassy area. Remember, that ball is still back in that corner here. Tribe looking to try and gain an advantage before they really start to move up. Zulon now retrieving the ball.
Again, MMA stunning out as Livy and leaving him like a sitting duck there. Cubic coming through as well. The pass can be there. It is. Yeah. Will the goal happen?
He's so
the friend zoner coming in though, and the super to follow up. Beautiful defense from Tribe.
Yeah, love the knockback there from that Ems gadget. Gives just enough breathing room to make sure the bus is breathing nothing but fumes. Again, as Livy wants to try and hold them down on this right-hand side. Ball has moved up here. Montage from Cubic now, but Tribe weren't born yesterday. They knew to hold their shots. Cubic is going to struggle there.
Tyrant's pushing forwards. The supply drop pickup is also there, but Livy getting a ton of value there. But MMA can put down a twister here. He probably will do. He's spying his time, doesn't want to bait it out too early. I do like that strategy, and there's not really much that Tribe can do here unless they try to go on the aggressive, try to focus their attention to Cubic and Angel Boy.
That's a nice little super there. Only as Livy caught with the stun, but it does pave the way. Angel Boy wanted to move up, but Cubic got taken down by Tyrant in the meantime. Now this supply drop starting to really have an impact, ramping up the lethality from the Tribe squad. No score yet with 25 seconds left in the round, and again, overtime definitely on the table.
You've got to admire the patience of MMA. He really is holding up this game so far. Tribe are in a position where they're trying to bait out the gadget, and he's just not giving them an inch. He knows that he can utilize that in overtime as we're going into that in 10 seconds. Speed at just the right time, the ball coming through. Can they make something of this opportunity now for NaVi?
Zulon tries to go for the super. Going to be harder and harder to get value from that now. Here's Livy with the ball as we move up the middle of the map. And Cubic has Montage available, looking for Angel Boy, of course. Let's Go's popped, and NaVi start to spread a little bit. Montage now being used as Livy's going to be forced into the background. Costly Charisma used, but it's not going to be enough. Angel Boy's able to fight the kill, but Tyrant's there. MMA's a little bit low, this close from being frozen, but he's able to dodge the shots for the time being. Can barely say the same for Angel Boy. He and Tyrant leave each other black and blue.
Now the speed coming in, and that is a concern, but as Livy just knows to spray down that ball and try to deter the situation, it's going to be so close, but I feel like NaVi have got some good momentum. If Angel Boy goes down, though, that could change things. Cubic as well needs the speed to back up, and he does go down. A great opportunity, but can Tribe seize this?
Cubic might have to try and force back here with the super. Yeah, he pops it straight away, sends it into this direction. Cubic will fall now. 7 seconds left in the round. Angel Boy's going to force them back, and a score is unlikely at this stage. 2 seconds to go. No super shot for Angel Boy. There won't be a conversion, and that first round ends in a draw.
I've got to be honest, I felt like when NaVi was setting up going into overtime, that they were going to try to go for that goal-scoring opportunity. It felt a bit strange to me that they just kind of left the ball out there for Tribe to do something with, and maybe they just felt like they didn't have the utility they needed to go on the aggressive, but nonetheless, I just felt like that was a good opportunity missed, but a chance to reset, and that's going to be arguably more so in favor of Tribe, actually.
Really feel like MMA's had the better of Ez Livy a lot of the time in his side lane. Punishing with that Gale Force, getting stun connection. MMA's able to sort of turf him out, push him back towards his side of the map. Can do, pop by Zulon. Cubic now trying to pinch, and Ez Livy's going to go down. This is looking scary now. It's only going to be Tyrant standing. Cubic walks it on in, or at least he will. Needs to send a message first. Message received.
Yeah, it's great to waste that bit of time because you just never know at the end of the game how it's going to fare. If Tribe are going head first towards the goal, and that is the thing which prevents it from happening, it's going to be money in the bank. But they are behind now, under pressure. Cubic with a great positioning over Ez Livy there, and a very swift takedown. Beautiful stuff. Angel Boy coming through. Cubic, oh, but the misplay! The misplay is a missed opportunity. Big time for NaVi. That is showing me a sign of nerves.
Not the kind of moment NaVi would like to remember. In fact, I'm sure they're going to put it behind him as quick as possible. Another super here from Zulon. MMA definitely steps outside the ring. Normally he steps into the ring in his personal life, but yeah. Bit of a mix-up here. MMA again with Gale Force in hand. Tribe have to play more assertively here, but they're scared of just running into Buster randomly amongst this grass. Cubic as well is able to stay outside of that super, but it creates some space here for Tribe.
Cubic
He's going.
caught with nowhere to go and frozen out as well. Can this Livy get this ball forwards? Enough, because MMA can twist this, and he does do it at the perfect time, but the amount of momentum isn't enough. Tribe will score.
The twister was there, it was perfect in fact, but as Livy just recovers the ball and makes the perfect shot to that left corner. Now things get a little bit interesting. Angel Boy gets caught out there by Tyrant. We've got 27 seconds left.
This is a great chance for Tribe to get their supers rolling. As soon as the boxes go down, try to get that shot off, and Tyrant in a great position here. If he gets down MMA, that's a great person to have out of the mix there. The speed from Angel Boy going on the aggressive. The ball passed through from his Livy. Super, lovely timing on that, and just taking their time to score as Tribe Gaming NA move on to match point.
Let's talk about some of the tough moments for NaVi there. They really hold on. Big missed opportunity here.
Yeah, we said, didn't we, like looking back, it was going to be a costly one, and that was the moment there. And
could have ended the round right there.
Yeah, possibly so. I mean, it was one of those moments that goes to show the LAN experience difference, you know, as we were discussing coming in, and Tribe have got that under their belt more so. It's a tough thing, you know, a lot of people here, a lot of pressure.
Must win round for NaVi. This might be it for them. Cubic barely hanging on. As Livy also looking pretty haggard there as he's forced to back away. No more second chances for NaVi here as Livy goes for that caustic charisma, forcing Cubic back here and also scouting those bushes for anyone else.
Yeah, they're just taking their time. Speed coming in from NaVi, and they've got to just make sure that they get some takedowns. Livy gonna go down here. But the ball in a good spot. Tyrant as well can use that super if he needs.
My goodness.
He's got the ball now as well. Cubic comes in, but didn't quite grasp it at the same time. I think there wasn't a chance to shoot, but as Livy just coming in and causing a bit of a body block there.
Another Gale Force there, friend zoner, forcing MMA back. Cubic starting to converge on them now, but Angel Boy has to back away. NaVi can't get both their side lanes in order here, and Cubic's gonna flatten his Livy once more. This is dirty stuff.
Cubic gonna go in. Zulan out of position there. A lifeline for NaVi.
The audacity of that goal. The no was in disbelief. But NaVi hanging on. The only way they know how at this point. Angel Boy punished though on the middle part of the map, getting a little bit too close to Livy and co. Cubic was super. Backed into the corner. Tyrant. Oh my goodness, that's a close one.
Well, NaVi just looking to regroup. They would prefer to approach this as a three-piece.
Getting locked in.
Cubic's got his super as well and will use it, but actually cancelled a bit of a misclick there.
Face shift from Angel Boy. MMA goes for the twisty on the right-hand side, but he's going to get brought down. It's just Cubic. Cubic versus the world. It's not enough. One apiece with 27 seconds left.
Well, supply drop comes in. Tribe know they've got the momentum on their side, and Angel Boy brings in some speed. But Cubic is worried about the freeze. He can't go in to Zulan too quickly. MMA with a great stun again. But Cubic can't really push this at the moment. It's open! It's wide open! That was a huge miss! And Tribe Gaming NA will take it home!
What other way for your #1 seed from North America and LATAM North to finish it in style? Really hotly contested Brawl ball set. But for NaVi, them coming alive, it was just too late. A head of steam built up by Tribe NA, and even with Captain MMA at the fore, it's not enough for the CIS region team.
Very dominant stuff, you know, wasn't it? It was Tribe Gaming NA, just another day back in the office. The energy, the flamboyance of this team and confidence that's going to be going through to that next round. They're looking scary, aren't they? You got to be honest, they are looking very, very scary.
So important for this Tribe team to start on the front foot after having a frankly awkward last couple of months. They've seen the rest of their own region rise up around them, and I'm sure at times they've questioned, do we still have what it takes to dominate at the global level? The answer to that is yes. The EMEA's #5 seed has been vanquished. And this squad is starting to look pretty darn scary. They deal so well with the Buster, right? Newer brawler, definitely sometimes can pull off these unexpected moments here. But I love that composure from Tribe, especially when they're down a goal in that previous round against NaVi. They fight back in brilliant style. This is extremely exciting Brawl Stars, and I love that finish there from Livy. These guys are here to play.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. Knocking the headphones off as well. You just can't hold back, Zulan. But look at Tyrant there. Oh my word, 18 kills. That's Angel Boy and Cubic put together.
Yes.
He was doing so much work. 241 DPS. Putting in time, putting in work.
On roughs, of all things, by the way. And your MVP is going to be none other than Tyrant Star. What a match from him and the rest of Tribe NA. They have some time, not a lot of time, sometimes start thinking about now what's next, right? They're definitely going to be looking at the rest of this bracket and going, okay, it's last match of the day. We probably have an idea who we're expecting to go up against, so perhaps they're starting to think about prepping for that. We had a chat with Zulan earlier today. It's so funny, so energetic, definitely a lot of confidence on a stage, but off stage we sort of asked him, he just really refused to put him out there. He really refused to make any sort of saucy statements to us. He said, no, look, I mean, NaVi are really unpredictable. We've seen what they've done to other teams in Europe. We've seen what they did to SK most recently. We're not getting ahead of ourselves, and I think that shone through in their play.
Yeah, I feel like Zulan has a very firm grasp on himself, honestly. Very modest now. You know, he's starting to mature in a wonderful way, and I think Tribe Gaming NA know themselves that, you know, anything can happen on the world stage, and keeping their cards close to their chest and just, you know, making it count through their thumbs is what Tribe Gaming NA is all about.
That's right, let's have a look at our bracket now and catch up with where we are in day number 2. We have one match left in our round of 16, and as you can see, NaVi unvanquished, Tribe Gaming advance to play the winner of our next match. Reconic Esports, hailing from mainland China, go up against SK Gaming. A matchup you just really would very rarely get to see. We're very glad to, of course, have representatives from mainland China here. And those quarterfinals are already getting set up. The storylines at this point are writing themselves. But again, another moment to talk about NaVi here, right? This is a team that's really delighted us over the course of this year. Having them in EMEA now is a treat because we get to see them month after month go up against the very best from that region. We're glad to have them stay in that region. We hope, of course, to see more from them next year. It's an exciting squad of players, Ark.
Yeah, they're great guys as well. You know, they've got such great energy, you know, around the hotel and the venue here. I've really enjoyed speaking with them and, you know, getting to learn a bit more about them. As again, we haven't really had them in a LAN setting for a while, so you know, it's commiserations to them. I'd like to see them again coming back on the main stage, you know, getting that all-important LAN experience. It would go such a long way for them.
Take a deep breath, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start to turn our attention towards our final match of the day. Reconic Esports go up against SK Gaming, and frankly, Reconic are an enigmatic team for us. Mainland China only had one of those qualifier matches to decide who would go through. Reconic didn't even win that one. More on that, of course, after we welcome them out to the stage.
Et allez, c'est l'heure du dernier match de la journée. Un gros match, encore une fois. On a eu 3 énormes matchs et il en reste un seul ticket à valider pour demain. Et celui-là, il est un petit peu spécial, évidemment, parce qu'il y a une équipe qui nous vient de Chine. Et j'en ai parlé tout à l'heure. Cette équipe est un petit peu particulière. Il n'y a qu'un joueur sur la scène aujourd'hui. Je vais vous demander de faire un max de bruit pour le joueur. Son nom est Tok. Je vais aussi la faire en anglais pour tout le monde. A quick switch to English for you guys. Reconic Esports is entering, but only one player could make it to the stage. His name is Tok. He's going to be by himself right here. He doesn't have his teammates on stage, so I want you guys on the crowd to be his teammate. Make a maximum amount of noise for Tok and Reconic Esports!
Reconic Esports fought valiantly this year in the mainland China finals and want nothing more than to put their home region firmly on the map. Coming in as the number 2 seed is, of course, NaVi Esports, who sadly weren't able to make it here today. But nonetheless, Reconic Esports qualified for the 2021 World Finals and now have the opportunity to better that performance.
Right, back then they were Trick of China. They go up against Queen Nai and they fall pretty spectacularly in a 3-0 series. Mainland China are yet to win a set at a World Finals. There's definitely a lot on these guys' tables, and how about this? Tok sat there on the stage. Talk about one man versus the world.
Yeah.
Literally. It's great to see the crowd get behind this guy, but I know they're about to make some serious noise because Reconic's opponents, they're about to take the stage themselves.
Et les derniers adversaires du jour, Il représente le côté IMEA, on le connaît bien, il reste une seule place à valider pour demain. Un tonnerre d'applaudissements pour SK Gaming!
SK Gaming have been competing since the very birth of Brawl Esports. Semantic EA and iChaos with Coach Pedro understand the importance of both patience and controlled aggression. Better than anyone else. In the grand final of MSI this year, they took ZETA Division 1 all the way to match point, proving that they have what it takes to be world champions themselves. A team who scream louder than their spectators who cheer for them. Their passion speaks for itself.
In 2021, the El Clasico was SK Gaming versus AC Milan Clash. Coming into this year, they made those two teams into one. Gear, iChaos, Semantic. The marriage of two teams that gave us some of the most exciting stories, rivalries, games in the EMEA region became this tour de force that's known as SK Gaming with an unmatched amount of LAN experience as far as European teams are concerned. These guys are the real deal. They won 2 monthly finals in March and September, so a decent gap between them, but no one's ever doubted this team. Even through their ups and downs arc, everyone has feared the name SK.
Exactly that. You know, they are and have been so experienced every step of the way, but we've got to talk about last year for them at the World Finals. You know, it was not the experience that they were hoping to have.
That's putting it lightly.
In the first round, yeah, by Tribe Gaming NA, who, just to point out, they could well be facing again. We might get that
Don't
grudge
tempt me
match.
with a good time, Ark.
I know. And of course with MSI, you know, that was the matchup as well that we saw, but SK triumphant there. And just that one game away from actually taking the MSI championship for themselves.
It was incredible, that matchup between SK and ZETA Division 1. It went all the way. This team, while they're looking at their opponents here, you know, we heard from Pedro, he said, look, we just don't have really any information about this team. We had to be prepared for anything, but they're also looking ahead. They're looking at that ZETA Division 1 team. They're coming back for what is theirs, and it's going to be quite a climb to get there. So right now, they need to dot their I's, cross their T's, they need to play tight, play perfect, and prepare themselves for what's to come.
I do really feel for Tok as well, I'll be honest, because, you know, SK are a scary team when they get loud. They love to try to intimidate, and I mean, that's not as bad when you're sharing the load, you know, but again, I really hope to see some great promise from Reconic Esports here today. It's, like you mentioned earlier, been tough for the mainland China region. Last year with Trick of China, you know, they really did struggle against Queen Nai. They couldn't get a single game under their belt, and no doubt that will be still in the back of their minds here today. But this is a tough one. I'm not going to sugarcoat it to you, but this is definitely a tough one here for Reconic.
Yeah, I mean, you saw our predictions earlier on here. SK Gaming are an absolute juggernaut, and frankly, opportunities for teams like Reconic Esports to take on the rest of the world are limited. They look on, they watch, they try and absorb what they can from seeing those matches, but nothing really measures up. Nothing matches getting out there in person and doing the real thing. Well, it's about time to get this thing going, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be Gold Arm Gulch for knockout first.
Yeah, and the poll with the big 81% in favor of SK Gaming. I'm actually a bit surprised based on some of the numbers that we've seen already in the past 2 days that it's kind of actually relatively low. I mean, when you look at the big picture, Reconic going to be picking up Hyper straight away, banning out the Fang is a good shout actually, because SK would love to get their hands on that one. Now they obviously will not. Bonnie and Sprout, Gus, Brock, and Tick banned out by SK.
I swear I saw very recently actually a Fang 1 versus 3 on this map. It might have been like East Asia or one of those sort of more peripheral regions, but there's a big reason why no one really wants to deal with the Fang in those moments. He can absolutely turn up the heat in an instant. So the Gus ban here as well for SK. You know, it's a pick that we've seen them experiment with. Giaz playing a ton of Gus in that October monthly final, with the Nani getting picked up here. Peep gets extra scary when you don't get to respawn after getting blown up by it.
Yeah, but you gotta land them, that's the thing as well. But nonetheless, it's a great counter to Piper. You know, that is gonna be an interesting matchup to follow on those lanes, and I'm sure, no doubt about it, SK will be looking to target that specific player. Coming in with the next pick, and there is still a Bell available. Wouldn't be the worst of ideas to have some kind of other ranged brawler. Rico going to come in. iChaos, of course, as we all know, arguably the best Rico in the entire EMEA region, if not the entire world. If there's anyone that knows how to make that brawler do the business, it's him.
And business is about to be good, I have a feeling.
Stonks.
Again, playing stonks up. Playing those side lanes, obviously, is where we often find iChaos really aggressive, wants to collapse that side lane as early and often as possible. A lot of Penny, a lot of Lola play as well from iChaos where possible. We have the Ruffs locked in here for good night.
Ultimately, those supply drops going to really land a helping hand to those Piper shots as well. So, but you got to have that survivor ability intact, and in a game mode like knockouts, when SK are going to go really aggressive, it can be problematic, let's say, to say the least. Carl, though, coming in, and I mean, there's very little to say now about Carl, having seen it over the past few days. We know that this brawler has really catapulted into the forefront of the meta. Those flying hooks can be incredibly aggressive and can really get behind your opposition, and that strategic play can catch you off guard.
There's something very special about seeing star players on these mid-range brawlers, right? Brawlers that can either be fairly passive, play fairly safe, but also on a dime can jump on in full engage and look to find those eliminations. And then, of course, in knockout, it's a big deal. Eve gets picked up here, so this is a fascinating one now from SK Gaming to round out their team composition.
Yeah, it's now a brawler which is, not nearly as, I don't want to say bad, but it was definitely one that dropped out of the meta, but now coming back in again as a helping hand of those gears, and a tiny little buff here and there, but it's the hatchlings that can really cause a problem to brawlers like Piper. So I hope for Reconic that the communication is on point when it comes to those hatchlings and preparing themselves for it. And in we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to kick off here on Gold Arm Gulch. It's SK Gaming versus Reconic Esports TOC. And we will have Gear playing the diagonal, as you would expect from the NaVi here, and really gives the Chaos a lot of room to start to move on in.
That reload Gear going to be helping out a lot, but a bit low here. Homemade recipe popped. All the return to sender, beautifully done by Guille, but doesn't quite get the takedown on the top of the map. There is a transaction going on with Talk, but so far, both sides standing strong.
You have to, yeah, I mean, we talked about how, NaVi does counter Piper, and that's one of the scariest things to deal with there. You think you've landed a shot, you try and guarantee it with homemade recipe, and it gets FedEx straight back to your dome. Taki really trying to be stalwart in this top part of the map and actually keeping Semantic in his home territory. Obviously, you want to play over that water as much as you can, as Eve. That's kind of what the utility that you bring here. So SK are unperturbed by this current state of affairs here. Gear. Oh, there it is. The peep hits the mark.
3 versus 2 now. Pressure on the Reconic, and so many hatchlings as well. Chaos is closing in there on Talk, and yeah. Talk gonna go down. iChaos will pick it up.
That was pretty tight, actually. Those sandbags there, of course, can be pretty frustrating to deal with if you're SK Gaming. Gotta say, Semantic's really impressed me about his development over the last few years. He's toned down that sort of over-aggression so much, right? And really become such a dependable, stalwart player for this SK Gaming side. That was scary. Talk trying to go in. Semantic popping the gadget, trying to get away. Cannot escape. Great pick up there for Reconic.
Oh, but Talk goes down there on the top left, and now the return to center onto Goodnight. The pickup from iChaos, beautifully done. 2 versus 1. Impet's going to have a lot of time spent juggling this situation, but SK can just play this as slow as they want, and they just get the pick up there and take the first game.
Yeah, a little bit hard to see from that angle there, but Gear sends a peep up to the top part of the map to at least secure a trade, as Semantic kind of paves the way with his damage there on that Eve. And there's not much you can do as Talk there on that Carl. You're essentially a sitting duck. Well piloted there from Gear. And again, it's a pretty scary prospect if you're letting this guy build these supers up regularly.
Great stuff. Great start for SK. But Reconic have been playing pretty decently, I feel. Like, it's just simply a lot of aggressive plays from players like iChaos raining down those shots, and good connection there from Goodnight onto Guille. Oh, but the return to sender was popped as well, but the homemade recipe still staying there as well. It's actually going to favor Reconic in that sense. And iChaos will take the front of it.
Yeah, of course, see a standoff there for a moment between the Piper and NaVi. Imp there, of course. Okay, field promotion for Imp, something we also want to point out. Obviously, making those brawlers more durable over time if they're able to be healed above that full health. Here comes the beep, straight down the middle, though. Sandbags thrown up. Perfect placement.
Yeah, love that from Reconic. Must be thought through. But the time now is getting on, and the gas now starting to show. Tok has got super as well. Good connection yet again from Goodnight, but Guille still returning that favor in. Very low here, and the gas is going to keep him out of breach here. He goes down himself. Tok going to go in, but does not come out. Goodnight.
1v2, and it won't be enough. Interesting interaction there. We actually saw the Roughs end up firing at the return to center to sort of, get rid of it so his Piper can go back to work. The damage that Im takes in doing so makes him die to one tick of the gas.
Tok just healing up there. Still a 3 versus 3 now. We'll start to see on the top left as Semantic comes in. Pinch is looking good. The value here could be fantastic. For SK, Im goes down. Goodnight. Surely not far to follow. He is getting tapped. IKS will have seen that now. The people come in and try and finish this job.
Goodnight knows where's Brett's butter, but he's able to get out there with the pop, and it won't matter. Gia still finds the connection, and it's going to be Tok on his own, in-game and on stage. It's a tough break against a team like SK.
Confident stuff. I love the way that they spaced out the Piper jump and timed that run with the peep perfectly back round yet again. SK being quite quiet, quite reserved for a change as well, just to point out. I guess, that's actually really quite a nice thing to see, because when you've got someone else on the other side of the stage and it's just a one-man band, I think that shows some good sign of good sportsmanship. But again, they're not going to be so kind in the respects when it comes to,
no.
Well, actually, no, yeah, maybe you.
I mean, it's semantic, right? So there's always going to be some degree of exultant celebration. But I'm quite sure that SK also know this could be a longer series. It's already a best of 5 by default, right? So it's longer than your normal quarterfinal runs at a monthly final. And if they make tomorrow, which is looking pretty good so far, that is an extremely, extremely long day.
Yeah, oh yeah, tomorrow's where it all comes down to. In terms of the stats, Guille putting in so much work, Again, that Nanny pick, very underrated. That's why it's a bit of a tough brawler to draft on the side of Reconic. Piper early is definitely opening up the door a bit wide there, and SK very quick to capitalize. 4 for Semantic, 5 for Guille, 2 for Chaos, but Imp had a really tough round, it's got to be said.
Absolutely. Very, very difficult on that Roughs to get much done. Often outranged, often being called up to, often being called up to get rid of that return to center. Be like, hey, try and clear the way for your Piper. Now, that was SK Gaming's best map type. 86% win rate on Knockout. Brawl Ball, not so much for them. A chance for Reconic here to maybe turn up the heat a little bit. We've seen some great storylines today. Plucky teams in an underdog position really put pressure on their opponents. That's what we want to see from Reconic Esports here. I know their conditions aren't ideal, but they're going to play out there on the stage. The crowd definitely behind them in a sense, so let's see if that's going to be enough to spur them to make this competitive.
Bans are in, and a swift draft of Poco for SK. I do like that. Banning out, though, the Ems, the Griff, and the Otis on the side of Reconic, the Janet, the Roughs, and the Buster. But Poco, survivability, going to be key here. I wouldn't mind seeing a Gene on the side of Reconic. They wouldn't mind to have some healing qualities themselves from the magic puffs, and we just know how the magic hand can really turn those tides. B is their first draft coming in. The range, of course, the honey molasses and the slows really does pack a sting. You've got to back it up also at the same time, and there's some options still available here. Penny isn't banned, and we know what that can do when you get the turret in just the right spot. It can really put that aggression on the goal or help on the defensive. Let's see if the second pick comes in.
Yeah, Reconic taking their time with this one. Seeing a Poco means that there's actually a whole host of different things that might have to deal with. You kind of foreshadow it here. The Penny comes in. Again, we sort of talked about it, right? If Poco is heralding a more aggressive in-your-face composition, then Salty Barrel is now something that Penny has access to that makes it easy to deal with people getting in her face. Normally, she wants a bit of space, wants a bit of room to work with. Now she has a bit more modality. Now she can stand on her own 2 feet when we get into close quarters.
I feel like Gale is going to be a shout for SK here, because if there's any team that like to slow down the pace of Brawl Ball, it is going to be SK. Maybe some bow mines on it for good measure too. I mean,
that is
one goal
Ark's way of saying stop drawing Brawl Ball SK, please, God, please. Carl going to get locked in here, so this doesn't feel too slow to me with the surge coming out.
I love this though. This is the SK that I love and adore, because it's aggression. it's consistent aggression. The Poco is going to keep both the Surge and the Carl very much on their feet, and it's going to be a very different play style. This is what I've been waiting for. But the Gale comes in for Reconic. How the tides have shifted in this matchup.
Yeah, this is actually really fun. So I do like the response here from Reconic. Gale comes in, who's been very, very good on these Brawl Ball maps in general. So Reconic have quite a few options, right? They do have long-range presence, right? Be obviously very, very effective. But as soon as, iChaos tries to close the gap, or Gia especially, right? Trying to go in with Flying Hook and then make a tailspin happen, there are options here for Reconic to sort of put some space in between them and SK Gaming. Obviously, Surge now a bit more of a brawler option, of course. Power Shield giving that extra durability if that's the way he wants to go. It looks like that's the case here, so watch out. If he starts to snowball late into the round, this could be a problem. Already, Good Night and Tucker in deep trouble. Great twister, but it's not enough to stop the 1v2.
Yes, all with the pass through, Cheeky, playing with their food, and we'll get the goal off the back of it. A nice bit of flair. And a very early start, SK picking up the early goal.
I mean, that's the problem, right? Gia really starting to flex on Reconic in this series. Chaos getting involved now a little bit more. Screeching solo, gets in the double, and Gia fires one off. That's about as quick as you get on Brawl Ball.
33 seconds, and SK just look so dominant. This is them at home. They're in their playground, and whew, I'm a bit worried for here, Reconic. I mean, they have to start to slow this pace, and they're just going down like flies.
Semantic here, of course, knows he can shrug off a lot of damage as he moves up, and this isn't a domination. This is an extinction event.
What is going on? What is going on? We might have the entire set finished in less than a minute at this rate. The flying hook in from Guy, the pass potential here. This is done, Uber. This one is done and dusted. I have never seen that happen. Not even to mention this being the World Finals. That was just insane. Blink and you miss it.
Well, suffice to say that SK have no intention of playing with their food. Going up 2-0. One of our fastest matches of the tournament so far. You even mentioned it, Ark. This is a team that likes to play slow on Brawl Ball, but this time that Poco comp, that Carl, they have absolutely everything, right? I mean, you have so much healing for the Carl. He can play as aggressive as he likes, and Semantic just collapses that right-hand side every single time. That was absolutely disgusting.
I mean, the replays are basically going to be us watching the entire thing back once again. I mean, I think that could well be up there as the fastest Brawl Ball set we've had all year. I don't want to necessarily say it for certain without checking behind the scenes, but that was just absolutely insane. And you've got to ask yourself the question, what chance now do Reconic have to recover from this? Not just simply being 2 sets down, but after the back of that game, I mean, one singular kill the entire time, just the one.
Well, if you want SK Gaming to show you respect, you have to earn it. Not nearly enough time for Reconic to build up that Gale super. Not nearly enough time for to get them, a good position for Honey Molasses. The B gets completely cancelled. She doesn't have enough space to go to work, not even enough time to make more than 1 or 2 shots at the start of that round. Flying hook, go forward, don't stop.
Well, I mean, at this stage, SK are known for reverse sweeps themselves, and when they're getting the sweep, they don't tend to ever falter. They just tend to follow through, and this could very well be the last map of the day at this rate. I mean, it's Heist, of course, a map that SK love to be able to play passive in, but I don't feel like that is their game plan today. They are all about the aggression. They're going back to their roots.
Like you said, potentially the last map of the day. Potentially the last set for our representatives from mainland China. Whatever Reconic Esports have left needs to come out now. If they've got something special, they had something in reserve, a secret strategy, an off-the-wall play, you may as well throw caution to the wind and try and make it happen. And of course, the much coveted 8-bit pick locked in straight away by Semantic.
Yeah, I really do love that. I love the bans also. The B being banned here is quite a big one. Colette, great brawler to have. B ban there is going to open up potential for Daryl, of course, but we know that that's going to have to be something that SK can still counter. Lola, I do love that for Reconic. But the chance to respond here from SK.
Yeah, this is where we probably really get to, well, this is where we really get to see what SK are planning to do here, just what kind of function the 8-bit they're hoping to fulfill in this composition. Some of those more aggressive options definitely on the table. I mean, SK banned literally 3 sharpshooters. Three of them. B, Bell, Piper. And both teams also banning Piper with Brock being out of the mix here. There's not a whole lot of that range left to go around.
We could combine the roughs. Ultimately, that will really give a nice damage boost to 8-bit Otis coming in. We've seen so much play for Otis. It really is in such a good spot. And you know, with the Pat Splatter in the bush as well, being able to show up everyone. Bonnie is a very, very SK ranged idea. Being able to keep the momentum of the damage onto the safe, such a crucial thing to have.
Yeah, also having all-in potential. There's always the combo of getting the mute. Bonnie can also try and follow up there, as we know she hits extremely hard when she's able to take the risk and get up close and personal. And just a very robust composition here from SK Gaming. What do you think about the bow here on a map like Bridge Too Far from Reconic?
It's not a bad thing to have. I just feel like there's better options at this stage. It's going to have, you know, the bow mines blocking down some and the choke holds, but yeah.
I didn't expect to see it personally.
Yeah, it's kind of more like an SK kind of combo, to be fair. They will love to use bow, and I don't therefore feel like it's a bad brawler to have. It's just a bit of a safe one, and when you've got to see the big picture of what's coming at you, that's your third and final pick is your bread and butter, ideally. It's just a bit safe.
Fat Splatter straight away from Semantic. He wants a little bit of room and start to put some pressure here on Imp. Goodnight is given a free mid lane here. But not exactly a target-rich environment as Chaos plays in that bush here, just really trying to outrange the bow if at all possible. Goodnight having that damage gear triggered, trying to stay alive in that fight, but Chaos and Tok trade there at the bottom part of the map, but that's a scary one now. Semantic helping Gear out in the mid.
Yeah, Gear just being reserving, I feel, of the extra credits. He'd love to get the damage booster down and just, you know, get that value in.
Yeah.
Mine's just, trying to trigger them as well. Now with the speed, he can do so a little bit easier. Semantic just getting taps after tap on the safe. Damage gear. Now we're going to heal up accordingly.
Okay, time to collect that used by Goodnight. Was hoping, obviously, to put some pressure on Chaos. That's naturally the kind of soup you want to use to get free damage on the enemy safe, but Reconic aren't in a position to actually be threatening that at all for the time being. Diaz really hard to shift in the middle part of the map, especially now with his speed boosted within the range of that damage amplifier, and Chaos is going in. Again, another trade on the right-hand side.
Nice triggering there from Guille. Very defensive turret, but ultimately wants to allow his teammates to win their lanes and gradually push themselves forwards. But this is the scary comp. Ultimately, it could be over with one big single push here from SK, so they're just gearing themselves up, taking it slow, looking to win those trades.
Time to collect there comes out from Reconic. So Goodnight gets value from that super. Chaos will punish there. But now SK saying, okay, this buffer isn't really big enough for us. We definitely need to extend this lead. And Gear getting free shots on the safe. That's a scary prospect.
Yeah, extra credits, combining it with the damage booster. 63% remaining now on the save, but it's a relatively close scoreline compared to what we saw, you know, in Brawl Ball. Reconic are having their moments. They're starting to get some momentum on the right-hand side there. Goodnight's getting some fantastic taps there onto Chaos, but it's Semantic clearing up that left-hand side lane, opening up some space, and Guille with the finish.
Yeah, this is dangerous now. Tough for Reconic to pull themselves out of a position like this. Semantic wanted to posture forward, get some free damage. Time to collect now on the safe. It's decent, but it's not enough for the time being. 17 left in the round.
Opening up some space in the mid as well, but Chaos and Semantic are in position. There's nothing the Goodnights can really do here. With 10 seconds remaining and SK locked in firmly, it's going to be them moving on, surely, to match point.
That'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. SK Gaming will get this first round in what may well be the final set. A big part of the success for SK in that round is Semantic constantly winning that lane assignment against the Lola, which is not necessarily an easy thing. She can definitely harass you from that long range, but Semantic immediately asserts himself right. Fat Splatter moves up into the space created by that one and constantly dominating Imp, who's had a really tough series in general.
Tok there was trying to keep that super totem going as long as he could, but Guille going in aggressive, and that's exactly the right thing and the right play to make.
Look at this. Look at Semantic just pushing up. And this is what he does. He gets far enough up the lane that he can turn on Tok and then open the way for Gear, who has the ability just to damage amp up or pressure the safe down. Rinse and repeat for SK here.
Yeah, exactly that. Guille being so great at surviving on, isn't he? Just reserving himself, extra credits there just to keep the aggressiveness to Goodnight and force him backwards, but it's just Semantic and Chaos just holding firm on those side lanes, and it's causing such a difficult problem.
Yeah, we're getting a lane swap here. So Tok now going up against Chaos on the right-hand side because, frankly, he can't deal with Semantic constantly interrupting his gentleman's duel in the middle part of the map. He's done it once more. Semantic wraps around. Now he's going to take a couple free pot shots at the safe, and we're already down to 63. Chaos gets the win there and he doesn't even trade. So this is very scary. SK looking imperious.
Reconic are struggling in this spawn. They've got to try to get one of these lane takedowns. I like they're enforcing through there. The ego's a bit early, but Semantic just continues to punish it. Now IKS jumping in, getting some damage. Guille, Semantic, everyone doing their bits. And SK Gaming will move on to the next round of the competition.
Eyes forward for SK Gaming. They weren't sure what would be standing in their way, or who would be standing in their way in this round of 16 match. But one thing was for sure, they had to win it, and they do it in style. Gotta give it to Tok, stood up there on the stage, a one-man army, literally. Teammates, of course, playing remotely. The amount of pressure he must feeling was incredible. Honestly, really heartwarming to see him out there and the crowd get behind him. And we, of course, hope to see much more from this Reconic team in the future. But SK Gaming have just secured themselves a revenge match.
Yes, they have. I'm looking forward to that. But I've got to reiterate again what you just said. Like, I love to see the way that SK at the end there just really showing how much they value the matchup, and Tok on his own is always a tough thing. Some tears in the crowd, by the way, as well, because, you know, you gotta fight to win. You know, it's a competition, but it's definitely a tough thing when it's 3 versus 1 on the stage, and, you know, feel for Tok, massively so, but SK there, just, you know, offering a bit of a, you know, few words and a shoulder as well.
Yeah, absolutely some respect here for SK Gaming, as the trip for Reconic to get here has been a tough one. Once again, representing their region, and their region should be proud. But speaking of regions, that EMEA one, they're looking pretty darn scary. There's a lot of storylines wrapped up in that next game on the lower side of the bracket, right? SK Gaming have a score to settle. It was Tribe NA that eliminated them awful early on in last year's World Finals. Look, series where we're going to be frank here, not a ton to say about it. Very, very tough one for Reconic in general. Imp definitely getting pressured. The side lane pressure from whether it's Semantic or you know, Chaos in many of these maps, a little bit too much to deal with. I think the tone was set really early on there on Gold Arm Gulches. The Nani pick from Gear, really, really hard to handle.
Like I said before, you know, picking Piper first pick is a tough one. You know, you open up the doors to a lot of potential counters, and SK played that perfect. You know, Brawl again, over in just under 2 minutes, the entire set. I mean, that says so much. But going into Heist, they did bring the pace down a bit. They didn't like get too overconfident too soon. They just kept the control and they played it slow. Ultimately, that's how they like to do Heist, and we kind of foresee this being SK's, but I just still didn't expect Brawl to be quite as convincing as it was.
They ran it down, as they say. Let's now run you guys down on where our bracket currently stands. Tomorrow, we have some incredible quarter-finals. ZETA Division 1 versus Reply Totem. Inso coach for Reply Totem says the winner of that game should be world champion eventually. STMN versus Team Queso in that second match. And then we have Tribe Gaming EU, ZETA Division 0, who narrowly avoid elimination by Chasmac, make an incredible reverse sweep happen today. And then the big one, Tribe Gaming NA, SK Gaming, with more on the line than just bragging rights, Ark.
There's so much history behind that matchup, isn't there? There really is. Last year, that was the thorn in the side of SK. You know, they were trying to reverse sweep Tribe Gaming, and it wasn't to be. They left in the first stage. In MSI as well, you know, we saw it, and just the raw emotion of that matchup, and it was SK Gaming that were able to return favor. But now we've got what we want to see, the grudge match in its fullest form.
Let's check back in with our predictions, Ark, because we definitely started the day a little bit behind Teddy, who managed to make the right call yesterday. Not so this time. Unlucky Tedwick. We get the better of him here with that Tribe NA pick. But I mean, look, reads like this, both Tribe teams still looking very, very strong. They won't meet each other in the bracket till a little bit later on there. SK Gaming, we all kind of felt was definitely going to be the strong team. And I have to say, we're a little bit disappointed with what we saw from NaVi. I think we hope for more from that roster. There are question marks about the players they used today as well, right? MMA getting used a little bit less over the last couple of months here. He comes in and looks really shaky early on in the series. Starts to assert himself later on here, but I think fans of that NaVi team, you know, justifiably disappointed. We don't get to see their true form, the form that we've seen many times online and last year.
And speaking to teams across multiple regions, they've all said that NaVi are looking dangerous, or at least were looking dangerous coming into this one, and many were thinking they've got to be in that World Finals. They've just got to be. The Grand Final is surely going to be theirs for a second year running. And, you know, I agree. I would love to have seen a bit more from them here today. It's an unfortunate thing for them, and I'm sure they'll go back and watch it and see that some of their drafts were just a little bit edgy at that early stage.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, that has been our round of 16. Tomorrow, the final day of this event, we inscribe one more chapter into the book of Brawl Stars Esports history. 4 quarterfinals, 2 semifinals, and our grand final, which is the best of 7, starting off at 2 p.m. CET. We hope to see you there. It's going to be the biggest day of the year. You'd be crazy to miss it. But for now, from myself, Uber, and Ark, good night, and we'll see you tomorrow. You know, I totally forgot.